Yep. I'm going to let the ads finish before I give them a caster R. We can introduce ourselves in 10 short seconds. We still got 5 seconds of ads. And we are live! Hello, any viewers popping in. I am Cyanic Acid, co-casting with TPG Nova, and this is lower bracket semifinals between If the Worm Wiggles and Smothered and Covered. Nova, do you want to introduce yourself? So we got straight up professional on the cast to make me look bad. Is that what I'm hearing? Fair enough. Well, fun is what I am hoping we are going to get here. Just as a heads up for you, Nova, I've cast like 6 or 7 best of 5s, and every single one went to 5 games. So I am expecting this one to do the same. I am cursed or blessed, depending on how you look at it. Yep. As we start to get into the draft, or I should say as we wait for the draft, anything that catches your eye, anything you're looking for, or anything you're hoping to not see? It's comfort. It's a game 5, or sorry, a best of 5. I would be surprised if it doesn't come out at some point, unless Worm just decides it's something worth banning. I think traditionally teams have not felt that Tom Kench is bannable, and to be fair, Smothered and Covered acknowledges it's not something they can just rip the band-aid off, pick one blind. They do try to set up for it. I am being told that we cannot hear you, so let's try and get that fixed. Try saying something?
And it may just be a Discord thing, maybe? Question mark?
There we go.
Oh, well. All right. So it looks like the first ban we're going to see is Lucian, followed by a Jinx ban.
Lucian and Jinx make sense. I expect a lot of targets towards this bottom lane. CLT's confirming that he can hear you now, which is awesome. I think traditionally, as my... Oh, I had a bit of a graphical bug. But I think the stream is still up. Perfect. Sorry. Everything almost crashed for a second. I think these bottom lanes are going to be focused very hard. Smothered and Covered has traditionally won through their bottom lane, whereas Worm's bottom lane is a bit of a coin flip from what we've been seeing in the playoffs. I think it makes sense for Smothered and Covered to try to further punish Worm's weakness, while Worm obviously wants to try to further reduce Smothered and Covered's strength. As we see Zillia taken off the table, Nautilus, and then nod to both junglers as Ambessa and Vi are removed. Insta-lock Caitlyn on first pick. We've seen this a lot on blue side.
I was about to say, I really like that Caitlyn. Caitlyn is a very high priority here. Especially in just competitive play. There's plenty of good matchups with it. There's matchups you can do like Bard. There's matchups you can do like Braum, Karma.
Yep.
Heck, you could even do like a Rel if you wanted to. As long as Caitlyn has something that could sit in the front line and allow for Caitlyn to be able to set traps or even just get damage down. And that is definitely going to be great for that Caitlyn.
That Galio Kalista is the full bottom lane for Smothered and Covered. Smothered's support is a bit of a Galio specialist. Kalista has not been played in the regular season, but Duffy pulled it out against their opponents last week, and he pulled it out to great success. I think the question obviously is, do you even get to the Caitlyn? But if you do, it is a scary combination.
I would definitely agree. However, at the same time, I do not want to assume that's also the Galio support.
It's Galio support.
Purely because Galio can be played mid lane and top lane.
It can be, but their support player is a Galio one trick. It's support.
Well, looking at the support response, then Janna is definitely going to prevent that Galio from doing anything.
Yeah. They are definitely going to have some challenges making a lane advantage, at least not without some kind of jungle interference. Obviously, Galio should have a better early game map impact with that grand entrance. We'll see whether or not he can actually deliver on that. Gragas being picked up. That could be top. That could be jungle. I think this is a new pick for Worm. It might be mid just because Marth has played some really weird stuff.
We're gonna see them pick. Oh,
the
okay.
Nunu.
There comes this guy's.
This.
What was it? 5.13 to 1 KDA
is a statement. When did I hate on Janna's lane phase? I just said that Galio and Kalista were never going to get a chance to get an advantage.
That is true. He did just say that, and so did I.
But moving on to the draft, this is a bit of a statement draft from Worm already. Smothered and Covered support Galio 1 trick. Their jungler is a Nunu Volibear 2 trick. Both of these champions locked in. You have to believe there's a bit of mental warfare going on if Smothered doesn't somehow pull this win out just on comfort alone.
Looks like in the second phase, though, we're seeing Mel and Victor being banned alongside Camille and Zahim. I like SAC's bans here a little bit more with the Zahim. I would have liked to see the Camille ban changed up for something a little bit more like stronger for
Renekton
like,
is
the
what sticks
overall
out to
medal.
me. He is not
Yes.
He doesn't name himself Call the Meek for nothing. I would be a little surprised, especially having to blind the top lane here, if we don't see a Renekton pick. He's kind of Chad blind top laner up there with Gnar.
Yes, and looks like we are seeing mid lane Ahri blind here. Honestly, I really like that blind, just purely because there's not a lot of bad matchups for Ahri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could do things like Orianna, you could do things like Azir, but at that point, or even Syndra or Talia, but at that point, you're just sitting, waiting for your abilities to be able to prevent Ahri from doing anything. Once she gets her ultimate, and you're not really doing all that much to stay active compared to what the Ahri can do.
There it is.
And there's the blind Renekton.
And you have saved your counter pick for top lane. Mundo into Renekton is fine, but I'm not sure that that's really how you wanted to spend your counter pick.
Yeah, that's definitely not how you would want to spend your counter pick. Honestly, I would have rather seen things like maybe Aatrox, Jen, Sion, or even something a little bit more like unique, like even a Yorick. Something that just does more for your team rather than just be a Mundo. Because at this point, your team comp literally does not have an identity compared to ITWs, who does have a clear identity of what they want to do right now.
Before the cast started, I said we were going to at least see one type of comp from Smothered and Covered. Do you remember what that was?
Tech the 80 carry.
3 tanks, hyper carry. I'm seeing 3 tanks and a hyper carry here.
Yes, but even still, what's this 3 tanks and a hyper carry gonna do in this situation? There's not a solid team fight.
And that is going to be the challenge.
All at that point, you're just going to have a beefcake up in front, followed by a Galio.
I think with, if you didn't look at Worm's side, Smothered's comp looks coherent. You've got Nunu running in, or Mundo running in with a Galio ult on top, providing a lot of space for Kalista to do their thing. But no engage is going to stick against Vex, Gragas, Janna. These are 3 of the best disengaged champions in the game, backed up by Caitlyn, who is going to be able to free hit any champion here. Vex, who has great range with the Q and the E. And Renekton, who should be able to be fine in a side lane for the majority of the game.
The only thing about ITW's comp that I do not like currently is the fact that the Caitlyn isn't going to have much of a I can set up a trap type thing for lane. Janna, though, doesn't have to play for that. No. She can easily start playing around the map, get the other lanes ahead, because at this point, you want to get your top side of the map ahead. So that way, the Kalista is essentially useless.
If you path towards Worm's bottom side as a jungler and make sure to give a good amount of bot side proximity, you can also do the opposite. You've got a double range matchup into a bot lane that should never be able to find a good engage off of you. You can live under their turret, take first turret with Caitlyn very quickly, and then move her around the map.
Yes, exactly. As much as I don't want to say it, as much as I want to say it, I don't think the Kalista pick was the call here, with being an insta-lock like it was. There's much better meta AD carries right now that you can pick. There's the Yunara, there's the Zeri, there is even Kaisa for that fact. Or you can go back into last meta's picks with like Corki. Anything would have been better than a Kalista here, because not only are you outranged from the Caitlyn in lane, but seeing as they pick Janna, you weren't doing much.
And we do have an ad break up. Thank you to CLT. It looks like with the spectator delay, he will be able to put the ad during the delay so that we are guaranteed not to be interrupted mid-game, so long as we somehow don't have a 70-minute game.
Jesus, if we have a 70-minute game, my life is, or my throat is gonna hurt, I should say, actually.
Likewise. I can use this ad break to quickly check. You wanted to do play-by-play, correct, Nova?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Because it's a lot easier for me to do that.
I will be sure to shut up whenever the action happens. Except for maybe the occasional oohs and ahs.
There's only a few times where I've ever done play-by-play and it's ever been like something I couldn't keep up with. Like only twice, I think, in my entire time I've ever casted.
I should warn you, Herald League is a different beast than an ACL, because these teams will pick fights just because they think their mother was insulted the other day. Sometimes there are 3 fights going on at the same time.
Fights over fucking Raptors, okay?
Raptors the most important objective in the game!
I've also seen fights being picked over Grubs, Wolves, Gromp.
Listen, okay, let me list the most important objectives in the game, starting with most important and working my way down. Most important, Raptors. Second most important, Scuttle Crab. Third most important, Red Buff. Fourth most important, Grub. Fifth most important, Dragon. Then Baron, and then nothing else really matters.
Excuse me. I've also seen fights taking place over wards.
Well, wards aren't objectives. Wards are life. If you don't fight for your life, what are you doing with yourselves?
I've also seen a fight taking place just because someone flashed. And it wasn't even like an important person's flash. It was just straight up like the top laner's flash. And they're on Scion. Herald League fights over emotes.
And we are getting out of the ad break, moving into the loading screen. As we have a few seconds before the game begins properly. Make sure the scene is swapping correctly, because for some reason it still looks... There we go. Just took a minute to load us in.
Yes, and professional, or not professional, but a little bit of a tidbit for you if you hit Control-Shift-Z at the same time.
Already on it! It's like the first thing everyone in chat told me to do.
I love how people know to do that now. It's so good.
So, I'm going to leave you with some quick thoughts on my comps before we get into the fighting. I do agree that Worm has the better comp, but there's one thing that you can't account for, and that is execution. Worm's comp does require more self-control than Smothered's comp does, because Worm does not want to run into Smothered. If the Gragas and the Renekton just start running at them because they think they can, we're going to have a whole different game than the one we discussed in Champ Select. So I do want to see whether or not they can actually pull out the self-control needed to play the range game.
That is very true. I also just noticed that Marth there took Dark Harvest on the Vex compared to Electrocute.
Well, I think that's because CLT...
Also, Coldamik started E.
I think it's because CLT loves Vex. It's his favorite champion. He's in the chat, and Marth probably knows that. He probably just picked the Vex with Dark Harvest for CLT specifically. If you couldn't tell, I'm taking the piss out of him. He hates his champion with a burning vengeance, but we'll see whether or not it actually does anything. And
First Blood. Oh, okay. The E-start Call the Meek on Renekton actually worked. I did not expect that, to be honest.
He is not called Call the Meek for nothing. I have to take it, especially with the prevalence that Mundo has had in the meta. This is a matchup he's familiar with, and he just knows a tech that you and I don't.
Honestly, Mundo's had a huge impact into the meta. Yes, you were correct, but not as a top laner. As you know, you've seen him probably a lot more in jungle than anything else.
Not
just because the Mundo's
low elo.
Really interesting. Okay.
He definitely gets seen in both places, but I think I do see him more top in Emerald and below than I do in the jungle.
Oh, looks like we're doing the lazy awards.
And that is an interaction we'll be seeing quite a bit in the top lane. Despite that first blood,
Yes,
it is clear that you are never going to get a stun as Renekton against that Mundo.
Yes, very much so. Unless it's already popped, in which case you do just have to try your best to keep it off him, which can be very easy, especially if you're looking to trade into him like this. We're going to see Mundo sitting into the wave, but the W comes out, and that's going to be a second kill over to Call the Meek. But Nunu's coming in with a snowball and gonna stop it, get the fear off onto Nunu. Flash comes out, and that looks to be the safety.
And this is a bit of the story for a lot of Worms games, maybe not to this extent, but Call the Meek has had the number of so many other top laners in this league. He's played very, very well. Souls has been an incredible jungler as well. If Call the Meek somehow doesn't get a lead on his own, Souls makes sure that he can. It's very much up to V7 and Calico just to, especially against Kalista, a champion that tends to fall off in the late game, just not give up the early game and let Call the Meek snowball this matchup out of control. And so far, with having that bottom lane shove, things are looking really good for the battle plan for Worm.
Yes, Call the Meek, though, now took a turret shot there, so I'm going to assume he's going to look on the reset here very shortly, but Nunu's coming in with a snowball, and it looks like it may end up hitting him. The Ghost is being used, Flash in onto the Mundo, getting the W. That's going to be the kill. Now it's on to Tej on the Nunu, and Nunu's just going to walk away for safety, just not try to give anything else up. There's a 0-3 Mundo.
For a second, but when that snowball didn't connect, I think Kane's just had to kind of realize how much threat that he was under and not give him that flash.
Yes, I agree here, especially since the Ghost and Flash were used from Call the Meek. Those are some huge summoners being used from him, however, but not worth it in the end, as Renekton now coming back to lane with a dagger, 2 long swords, and a pickaxe.
And this is already kind of looking terrifying for Smothered and Covered, if you ask me. Hold up.
Oh, the ultimate getting used in on from the Vex at the Ignite going down. Scrub Lord looking like he's going to die. Yes, he is, with the auto to top it off. Honestly, that was a very interesting set of events there.
Agreed. And already spelling even worse of a picture for Smothered's chances in this first game. Your top lane is hemorrhaging out. 3 early kills on Renekton, especially if Mundo.
Oh, Nunu's coming. Come on in. The taunt is looking like it's going to go out, but it's not going to hit. Tornado's going to hit on the Nunu. Now it's the heals being used. Flash has been used as well. The Ren's going to come out. That is a kill going over to Duffy. But now top lane, it looks like Call the Meek is going to turn on to Kane. Nothing. Dominus is not going to be used yet. He does step on the passive from the Mundo to stop the healing. Level 5 Mundo to level 6 Renekton, or now level 7 Renekton. That's 2 levels down. Looks like the Charm's going to come out onto the Vex, and it's now just action happening all over the place. Tej secured the Scuttle Crab.
Mojo.
And is now going to be slow.
In the chat is a man of the people. Says, bro, just play safe top as he gets killed under his turret.
Where did Mundo go in that situation? Jesus.
And this is why it's so scary. Because Mundo's early game is on the weaker side. Like, you've got this sort of notorious triple giant spell start. But triple giant spell ain't cheap. You gotta get there. And by the time you get there, Coldmake's gonna have a full item. I do believe he's probably going for a Bork Rush as well, which is just gonna hard counter him.
Honestly, if he goes for the Bork Rush, it's not a bad idea, but at the same time, the Sundered Sky in this meta is just kind of too overpowered to overlook. Personally, though, the Blade of the Rune King Rush, though, into 3 tanks, actually not a bad idea.
I don't play enough top lane to know, like, factually which is better, but I think we can agree that Bork is not bad. It's probably a bit of a playstyle choice, one way or the other. It's certainly in the side lane against the Mundo. He will keep bullying him with it.
It's like ward is just going to be instantly cleared out by Calico. That's actually some pretty good ward coverage or ward control into that Tribe Rush. So far, though, we do see SAC's ward coverage on the bot side of the map looking pretty decent. They had 4 spots of vision for momentarily there while Scuttle was taken. So Dragon could be quite easy to take. Marth's going to clear out a control ward, and the ward just expired, though. So now it is even less. But with Nunu, it is kind of... Nunu Kalista, it's kind of hard to get in there and even take any objective like Dragon.
I do like what Worm has done in their bottom lane, their support missing both summoners. We saw them throughout the early game, just like I said, living under that enemy turret as Kolomik just slaps him again. Hold up.
Looks like we're going to experience a fight. That's a snowball going in on the Vex. Vex is now in a very bad spot. The fear goes out on the Kalista. Kalista, though, gets the Ren. Now it's on to Calico. Calico is going to send a Tornado and disengage the fight. But Dragon is now the call. Kane top lane is low. Looks like Kolomik's going to pop the Dominus and immediately get the slice and dice down, and is going to be another dead Mundo to be a 5-0 start.
Marth was kind of caught in no man's land. It was known to everyone that both teams wanted this Dragon, but you could see Nunu clearing out the vision. We knew Smothered's team was in the river first, and Marth just sort of walked in, and shockingly, he got sandwiched. And without your mid laner, you didn't have a team fight.
Yes, immediately followed by top lane dying there. I did say the wrong ability name. That was to Call of the Meek with his Q that killed him. But at the same time, now you have to look at this entire game state and be like, how do we hemorrhage the bleeding here from top side? How do we get the fact that our top laner is 0-5 at 9 minutes?
Call the Meek picked up an Executioner's Calling. He is definitely going to be finishing this Bork as well. You can question whether or not the build will scale against the team as a whole, but against this Mundo, he is a glorified cannon minion now.
Yes, he is, and it looks like Calico is going to be the first one from the bot side to be towards these towards these, not Scuttles, the Void Grubs. Sack is just going to call the back off. Surprisingly, though, with how much action is going on, They're only down 0.5k gold, which is very surprising.
We can take a quick look as you get a short lull on where the gold lead is.
Jesus, okay, it's all in top lane.
Yep, 2,000 gold lead up on Worm's top laner. We see a 700 gold lead on Smothered's jungler. We see dead even gold in the mid lane. We see a 900 gold lead on Smothered's AD carry, and we see a dead even gold on support. So basically, Smothered's AD carry and AD carry and jungler are pulling the gold lead back over. But as you said earlier, this Renekton is a problem.
Oh, we're gonna see Vex get snowballed in on. That's a flash out. Ari's gonna do her ultimate to get into place. The Nunu ult also went down just to prevent Vex from doing anything else, but now it's on to Caitlyn. The taunt's gonna hit out. Kalista ultimate going to be used. Rend going to do a lot of damage, but will not kill. Ace in the hole is gonna come out. Gallia's just gonna tank it up. Flash heal and here. Flash being used. Souls is here. Tej, though, spots him out. And now it looks like just some ward clearing. Going to save the bot lane some more action.
And something that the directed cam has not shown, and I just kind of have to assume this has been happening, is we do see this 30 CS lead for Tej over Souls in the jungle as we see a fight break out top.
Coldmeat gonna pop the Dominus, and now
it's too easy.
At that point, it's not even worth saying anything. We're just going to expect that he's gonna die.
This one, however.
Oh, new snowball comes in. The Dominus is still popped from Caldem Meek. Caldem Meek has the ability to get away, but the snare comes out. It looks like he's... Wait, what?
I don't know if...
What?
That was
Why did you just walk away?
So, I don't know if that was nerfs from Tej or what, but he somehow missed almost all of his mini snowballs. And if he hadn't, you can guarantee he would have got that kill. And I think after the initial root went down, he was worried that Cole's cooldowns were back up. Because I actually do think with a... Good flash.
Ooh, good flash from Scrub Lord. They're getting away from the cask from Soul.
But yeah, I think if you look at the gold disparity in the jungle, Soul's 0-0 and 0. Until, honestly, just now, we haven't seen him really get a gank off. The directed cam hasn't shown it, but I kind of have to believe that Tej has been just aggressively counter-jungling him. Because when Souls has had no impact on the map, that's the only way I can justify that CS difference.
Honestly, it's the same way for me. I think Tej has been counter-jungling him and preventing him from taking anything. Just looking across the map, it looks like SAC is going to be able to take a lot of pressure in the bot lane, which is going to be nice for them. It is going to try and force Caldem Meek to take this tower as soon as he can, so he can start trying to get around the map and potentially even go bot lane to use his already super huge advantage. However, if he gets that off and is able to use that super huge advantage, then you give Kane the chance to be able to scale. Looks like the second dragon is going to spawn here, though. It's going to be Hextech Dragon. Ward goes down in the pit. And immediately going to get cut off.
Up. It's getting used.
Yep. Caldem Meek's going to teleport in. It's going to force SAC to back away because they do not want to take on the Crocodile. And, yeah, Caldem Meek's just going to try to run them down, but it's not going to do much.
And taking a quick glance at the minimap,
secured.
I have cast it into fruition. You can see that Tej is getting Constellation Prize by countering Souls' topside jungle here.
Yes. Ward coverage is being taken out by Calico, but in return they get a QE onto him. Or her. Whichever it is, I don't know.
Calico is a woman.
Goal has SD bounty. He had a shutdown bounty, but once the dragon was taken, it did kind of negate that shutdown bounty a little bit. Oh, looks like Calico's got a face check into Duffy, and the Fate's Call is going to be used. The flash going to come out. Taunt going to be used as well, and that's going to be Calico dead. Forced to use the flash and the ultimate to try and disengage, but was not enough.
I don't think Souls was seen. He definitely wasn't. Oh, he doesn't quite get it.
He was not. Here comes Souls on to Duffy. It looks like Throttle was looking for an ultimate. Is not going to be able to find one. Kane, take a trade on to Meek there under the turret, and it looks like it's going to work. Meek going to take 2 turret shots there, or 2 turret shots altogether, and it's just going to get chunked.
And this is, unfortunately, some of the challenges that we have seen Worm have in their regular season. On paper, Caitlyn Janna should be untouchable in this lane. But if your Janna face checks the Gragas with the Galio with the Kalista still up, that's just gonna happen.
Looks like we're gonna see the Nunu snowball gonna hit Marth, and that's a charm going out. Now Souls is trying to save him, but not gonna be able to do much else. The Ignite went down onto Scrub Lord, not gonna get much else other than just a tiny bit of damage. Meek is in the wing, gonna hover onto the turret. Looks like they want to try and force some plates here.
And it is slowly starting to look like it might be Meek versus the world. We did say how much we preferred Worm's comp, but we did also highlight how much comfort was picked on the side of Smothered. This Kalista Galio, despite should have been at a range disparity, definitively came out of this bottom lane ahead. We have seen the Nunu have more impact on this game over the Gragas. I don't think Worm is out of this just yet. The gold is still very, very even. Your Renekton is obviously a monster, and I do prefer the comp still. But if things continue to go this way, Smothered obviously has a game in their hands.
Yes. At the same time, though, you do have to also remember that. Look, they were running on that thought. It looks like Snowball's going to hit on 2-7. Mark's caught in the middle. He's on to Duffy.
Great cast!
The ultimate was used, and that's going to be the Galio ultimate coming down. They're going to look for the ace, and the whole Souls gets the kill. That is one dead Galio. Duffy.
They hit back.
On what looks like to be 100 HP. Looks like they're going to poke down on the Tej a little bit more, trying to get some damage. Duffy going to almost take a Q there from the Caitlyn, but nothing going to come of it. Meek now looking to hit this bot turret. If Scrublord goes in here, he may experience what it feels like to go against Meek. That's the charm coming out.
I think he's playing.
And it looks like there's just going to be some damage. Meek, the Dominus available. Canes is coming. Warmong is available.
That's a
Here
big
comes
snowball.
The snowball. That is one pack Nunu. Splice and Dice used to try and dodge, but nothing is going to be able to happen. That's the shutdown. Well, not shutdown in terms of getting the extra gold, but the shutdown in terms of finally killing the raid boss. That is Meek. Souls is down in the bot lane, looking like Herald's going to be used. Gonna get the eye and is smiting it, even though he didn't need to. Some big action just happened there. What's your thoughts on the process that just happened?
Well, first off, Smothered is clearly trolling because their Mundo is worth gold.
Okay, we're about to go into some more action. Mars is getting caught out here in the top lane. The ultimate's going to be used onto the Ahri, but now nothing able to save them. And that's a dead Vex.
When Worm is firing on all cylinders, they look insane. But sometimes the opposite happens, where they look like this. And quite frankly, I almost feel like I'm watching a solo queue team. I know Worm can play better than this, and I am hoping they play better than this as this game progresses, as this series progresses. But right now, I'm watching just a lot of individual plays and disrespect being made against Smothered, whose team is just moving around the map in a much more coherent way. We talked about all the advantages that Worm's comp afforded them, but when they're just getting picked out as 1- and 2-mans against 3- or 4-man kill squads, that comp doesn't matter.
Yes, you are correct. And it looks like they're going to immediately try to go in here. Meek looking like he's going to go into 3. The Dominus is popped. That's not going to save him, though, as Duffy is able to just kite him out. The Rand popping his life. And the Dragon being secured. Second Dragon over to SAC.
I think he just overestimated what he'd been doing all game, because he rushed a Bork, he picked up an Executioners, he went a Black Cleaver second. This Mundo is and will continue to be a glorified cannon minion to him, but all he has picked up is a little bit of health and an MR from the Merc Treads. If you get crowd control locked for even 2 seconds, and he was locked for way more than 2, that Kalista will annihilate him.
Yes, that is very true. At that point in time, you're just hoping to play for the Callista timer. That is when Callista falls off. But that timer is not going to be anytime soon. It looks like Callista is going to go into the wit's end here in third item to save the potential of being one shot by the Vex, which is a good idea, especially because even if Vex is 1 in 5, she still has the potential of being able to one shot you. So does Souls. Souls is on that Lich Bane first item, which is going to mean that burn is going to come in very heavy with the casks if they're used correctly.
And we are seeing sort of just the kind of map movements you'd expect from someone who has played this much Nunu. Tej kind of showing why this champion has been banned against him for so long. He kind of feels like he's everywhere. We just saw V7 get chunked out when he was basically under his own turret with his support.
Yes, Calico there just did some weird movements. Like she didn't know what she wanted to do and got severely punished for taking a free Q and what looked like to be a Galio Q. I couldn't see. Call them meek though. This is a very different change now if we're looking at the health wise. Mundo, because of that Warmong's passive, is now able to chunk Call them meek pretty easily. So as long as he doesn't take the fight, oh look, V7 is gonna be engaged on, force the flash away. That's a good flash from V7 to get it out from the Nunu Snowball, who is coming in very fast. But back to what I was saying, unless Calder Mig is able to take a straight up fight against Canes now, Canes can just sustain this Renekton.
Yeah. And it's still not an easy matchup for Canes because he can only do it by sitting under his turret, which means he will never have pressure in the side lane. The moment he gets too far away from the turret, Kolomik can look for that all-in. As he's hoping.
All in, it looks like he's going to try, but not going to find the distance he needed with the slice and dice. Here comes the Nunu. Marth is going to walk towards Nunu, fear him away. And that's just going to be Marth saying, get out of my lane, Tej. Called him making a look to slice and dice and does not use the second one to get closer, but will get some damage on the Canes, but also receive some damage. The minion wave looking like slice and dice is going to come back out. W being used onto Canes. Canes now popped the ultimate in response, and it looks like it's going to be Called a Meek going underneath the turret, getting some damage. He needs to pop the Dominus here. No, okay, Kane does not keep going, which is very interesting because if the Dominus was popped, Kolomik does win that. But at the same time, and it looks like it's just going to be some free damage. Kolomik could flash in here if he wants to. It does not look like he's going to yet. Slice and dice is going to hit the W, gonna come on out. And that's going to be a dead Canes. Now Throttle is in the wing, looking like he wants to try something. Kolomik is on a ward. He does not know that yet. Here comes the Nunu.
He's got a lot of backup.
The taunt gonna come through, and it looked like Throttle's gonna get the kill credit. Ooh, that was a huge overstay. But it looks like the overstay is going to go for them, and the Baron is going to be the call that it's played.
When you have...
Zach has no idea.
People often wonder... how as a top laner do I impact the game? In solo queue, it is incredibly, incredibly challenging. But in a team environment, you have two options. You can play with your teleport, play with your lead, group with your team, and just be the stronger fifth man. Or you can draw attention. Yeah, Souls gave his life, but he went 1-for-1 in kills, took the turret, and drew so much attention that Worm wisely sussed out it was a free Baron.
Yes, and it looks like SIC, though, is going to make the cross-map play eventually and just take the dragon. That's going to be Soul Point secured for them. Next dragon is Soul, which is going to make it a lot harder for them to avoid the Nunu. Speaking of the Nunu, he's going in with the snowball, is going to miss. Marth is forced to flash away. Taunt comes out, but now they need to either turn on Renekton or run away, and it looks like they're going to choose to run away. The ultimate from the Vex. Not
it's
going to hit a Soul. And it looks like they're going to turn on to Kane's. Kane's going below half health within a few autos from Caitlyn and a bunch of damage from LOLMidwest. That's the turret going down in the mid lane. SAC has to do something in response here, or they're just going to bleed.
I don't think they necessarily have to. I think they need to accept the macro trade for what it is. I would say, especially with how low LOLMidwest was in that bottom exchange, that they definitely over-indexed on him. And that was the crucial mistake that led to this series of events. But from that moment on, both teams played the macro immaculately. Worm immediately jumped on the Baron and took it. But Smothered and Covered, having overloaded the bot side, responded with the Dragon. And now you've traded immediate power for eventual power. Worm has Baron. It's going to be very difficult, especially with the roster that Smothered and Covered have drafted, to be able to stop this Baron push. Your only real wave clear is the Ahri. So you have to believe that losing some turrets to the Baron is inevitable. But you're on soul point if you're Smothered. That's the trade-off. In a few minutes, you get to cash out on that if you win a fight around this dragon. You get that Cloud Soul.
Looks like we're going to get the new snowball in. He's going to hit the Caitlyn, but nothing else going to happen. The Vex ult's going to hit throttle on the Galio. Not going to take it in. Good choice. That would have been terrible for the Vex, as it could have just been a dead Vex in response. Kane's going to take some damage here. The Fear is going to hit the passive, and he's going to be able to pick it right back up. Gromp going to be taken. Nunu coming in. That's Marth getting engaged onto. Kane has some damage dealt. Marth is just able to get away thanks to LOLMidwest showing up, just showing pressure. Damage onto the mid lane turrets accruing just because of that cannon minion. And it looks like LOLMidwest, without the Baron, is still going to be able to split push here, and he's going to get some wild damage onto the turret.
Oh, no.
But it looks like they're going to take the turn. Dominus is getting popped, and Tej just noms LOLMidwest. And that is one dead crocodile. I hope he tastes well, Tej.
And that's a huge problem for Worm. That is not a good side lane death, because there's nothing you can trade for here. As a matter of fact, when you have Baron with Worm, you want to use that obviously to push, but when your strongest member gets taken out in a side lane and you have this Nunu playing the map so quickly, so aggressively, you will quickly find yourself in a 4v5, which is just not the situation you want to be in. We haven't talked a lot about the gold lead because there hasn't been one. For the most part, both teams have been dead even. But with that last exchange, that last kill over to LOLMidwest, 1,000 gold lead has been pulled ahead by Smothered and Covered. And when a team has just taken Baron and traded soul point for it...
Nunu on to 7 with the snowball. It looks like the ultimate's going to miss from the cast. Or no, not the cast, the moon. For the ultimate from Janna being used to disengage. But Martha's just going to die. Tej getting another kill credit cast. Explosive cast being used. And now that 7 going to go down to Scrub Lord on a rampage now. Souls forced to use the Seeker is going to die. LOLMidwest, though, they're looking to prevent the turret from going down. But it's only a tier 1. You don't need to defend it. LOLMidwest now running away. Gonna take a spear from Duffy. Get some damage, but nothing else gonna really happen. The sweeper being popped by Scrub Lord just to try and clear some vision. But not gonna be able to, as they're forced to just walk away. Looks like red buff is going over to red side here.
And all of a sudden...
LOLMidwest gonna take the 2 snowballs. Ooh. Oh, the charm's gonna land on the LOLMidwest. LOLMidwest got the snowball as well. That's quite a lot of damage that just took place onto him. He's quite chunked, and it looks like Canes is going to take top turret finally. Coming into the game at a relatively late moment, but still, coming into the game, he's going to make some action happen. Blue Ward's going to spot out Tej and Scrub Lord looking to get some kills.
And all of a sudden, I just highlighted how even the goal had been all game. Now we have a 5,000 gold lead for Smothered and Covered going into this fight for soul.
Yes, and it looks like Teleport's going to come out from Canes ahead of time, get there. Dragon just spawned. Dragon's going to take a lot of damage. Now Kalista stacking the spears. LOLMidwest is on the flank, but he is quite alone. Looks like the Fate's Call is going to be used ahead of time. That's going to be the Vex ultimate missing. LOLMidwest, though, going to take down Duffy. That's a shutdown.
He's on both carries.
LOLMidwest going to get the carries. quite easily throttle the next on the list. That's a double kill. Or no, that's a triple kill, actually. Kane now forced to run away.
Soul was secured by Smothered and Covered.
Marth is face tanking Kane and is just going to get punished for it. Okay.
Baron just spawned, though. I think you can get this turret, maybe even the inhib turret, and then look at Baron. It looks like Worm is probably got a few split calls. As you see, some members move to Baron, some members move. Looks like the final call is to keep Call the Meek in the mid lane, move the other members over to Baron. And you have to believe that Baron is going to go over to Worm. Once again, it's a bit of a trade of resources, but the permanent resources, this soul... This soul has been secured by Smothered and Covered. If we take a quick look at what the champions have...
Kolomik is getting jumped on by Duffy. He's going to pop the Dominus. Now it's going to be severe damage done to Duffy. Throttle getting the kill. Poor Duffy did not get that kill, unfortunately, but they did get Kolomik. That is going to stop the mid lane siege, but that will be another person without Baron.
There are
for ITW.
Some of Kolomik's deaths in this game that I question whether or not they're actually his fault. Maybe there was a split comm. Maybe there's a question on what he was trying to draw pressure for on the other side. That death was his fault. He knew where his team was, and he knew where the enemy team was. And the enemy team was respawning, and you can see that if you hit tab.
Yes. I will give these players some credit right now. It is 31 minutes, 280 CS on both top, or 289 CS on both the AD carry and top laners. These players are CSing very well. Actually, 300 now on Duffy on that Kalista. That is some pretty good CSing, and it looks like he's going to go into potentially adaptive helmet here for his.
The last time he played Kalista, he did pick up a Jack shows, so I would expect that to be the case. I think it makes sense. Kalista, for those of you who aren't familiar with her, because she does not see a lot of play in solo queue, especially in the lower elos, she falls off not because of her damage, but because of how close she has to fight in these team fights. She becomes very, very squishy, very, very easy to kill. Picking up a tank item actually helps fix that problem a lot. With these 4 other items that the Kalista has already grabbed, Duffy deals so much damage. Picking up an adaptive helmet so that he doesn't get immediately melted by this Renekton like he did in the last fight could go a long way.
I think Kalista did just reset there so she could pick up a elixir, but I'm not 100% sure.
I can check that. There is no elixir.
What did she reset there? What did she reset there for? There was no reason to.
Maybe she just wanted to take the absolute safest route back to this top lane to help protect against the Baron Bush.
That's very possible, but it does look like at the same time, wait. Okay, I was about to say, where is Vex? I didn't even see her there off on the side. Marth's gonna look to trying to go onto Duffy, but Duffy is just able to walk away, didn't take much damage there at all. Marth just kind of tickling.
And I want to highlight what's going on the other side of the map. Muno just took the inner bottom turret, despite this 4 or 5 man push up on the top side with the numbers advantage. It is actually Smothered and Covered that are getting more turrets out of this Baron play.
Yes, this at this point in time is a negative gold Baron play for ITW, who is currently throwing a massive lead. Call of Mig just went in onto Kane, but didn't really do much of damage. That just shows, though, how much Mundo is scaling into the game. Bramble Best picked up, so that's going to help him out quite a lot in being able to keep Call of Mig away from himself.
So what we saw happen in this top lane is essentially Smothered and Covered cashing out for the mid lane advantage, something that we haven't talked a lot about in this game, because V7 was too afraid to really walk up to the turret, and you can't really blame him with how strong the Nunu and the Galio and the Kalista have become. There isn't necessarily enough peel to stop a snap engage at this point in time. The way you would want to walk up to that turret is to exercise Vex's poke, which there isn't any because Vex is too far behind.
Yes, Vex is literally at this point just tickling even the Callista. She's on 2 items compared to the 3 from Ari. Even Ari does more damage. And by the way, speaking of that Jock show that we saw, it just finally got picked up by Duffy there, and it looks like Kolomik is going to get jumped on by Tej and throttle the taunt going
He's
out.
a tanky boy,
Ultimate
though.
coming down, or the absolute zero coming down from Tej, but not going to die yet. Charm going to hit. Call the Mig trying to get away. He pops the Dominus. There goes another missed ultimate from Marth.
That's so many cooldowns used by Smothered and Covered for Tej to ultimately just walk away. If we take quick stock of what did get used, Call the Meek's Ghost and his ult were used, of course. Mark's ult was used and did go wide. Calico's ult was used. Hold up.
Souls just able to break their ankles and go over that wall. Nothing I can really say about that going on so far. Call the Meek ultimate is almost back up, but they need to be able to slow down this Elder Drake take, and it does not look like they're going to be able to do that. Kane used Ghost before to try and catch Soul. Snowball being used. Call the Meek looking to get in onto Duffy. Duffy is forced to flash over the wall, but now Call the Meek is low. He does not have the dominance yet. Kane gonna do some damage. The Galio ultimate coming down. That's gonna be the Dominus pop, but nothing is gonna save Cole the Meek at this point in time. Souls is taking a lot of damage. The flash coming in. That's gonna hit on to the Vex. Or no, that was Caitlyn. Actually, my fault. Gragas and Caitlyn just gonna immediately get bursted down. Elder is going to look to be the play at this point in time to maybe just take a secure play, or they're gonna push into the bot.
The story of this game
from Pain
has been Barons for Worm, Dragons for Smothered and Covered. And the Dragons have it. They're pushing in through the bottom side. They're looking to end the game.
Don't think this is going to be just quite yet.
Smothered wants it.
Going to keep Martha away. Throttle taking some turret damage. That's going to be the Vex ultimate on the Throttle. Now, a lot of damage going down. He's going to be able to burst away the... Fate's Called gonna save the
Nexus is going down! Smothered and Covered with the killer instincts. They say we don't need the Elder, we need the Nexus. And that is game one going for them. Getting every comfort champion that they could have possibly wanted, minus the Tahm Kench. You have to imagine that's a game they really wanted to win.
Yes, it is. Especially coming from behind at multiple points in that game. Well, not even multiple points, but more like twice they were behind thanks to Call the Maker in that early game. Canes did a really good job of eventually just stopping the bleeding.
And I want to give a quick
together.
Shout out because I am seeing in the chat, unfortunately, Calico apparently disconnected in the middle of that last team fight. So you do have to wonder how things could have gone if that had happened. If you're wondering why pause didn't go through, to prevent pause abuse, there is a standing rule that you can't pause in the middle of a team fight. Obviously, a situation like this could happen, and it's very unfortunate. So I do want to give the asterisk over to If the Worm Wiggles. That fight, if they had won it, if Calico had been there, we would still be casting this game, I'm sure.
Very likely. With that being said, I wonder what game 2 is going to look like. Are we going to see adjustments from either side? Or are we going to see more of like the Protect the 80 carry comp from SAC? I would like to see ITW pick a much easier to play comp.
I would as well, and I think that is the adjustment we will see. Worm picked, I think, we talked about it, not to sound like a broken record, a very good comp, but it was not with the kind of champions, with the kind of style that they've been known to play, and they kind of tried to play gotcha, intentionally giving a lot of comfort champions over to Smothered and Covered to execute on this. And I think this is a very fine strategy to try to do in game 1 of a best of 5. Their backs aren't up against the wall. There's a lot of comfort still available for Worm. Smolder open and Sivir open for V7. Malzahar and Heimerdinger and Vayne still available for Marth. Xinjiao and the Fury open for Souls. Like they can play a very, very powerful comp that is more in line with what they wanted to do. And these power picks that Smothered and Covered are known for are now off the table. You don't have to worry about banning the Nunu. It's fearless. It's gone.
Yes. That's the very beneficial thing about Fearless is you do not have to worry about things like the Nunu anymore. You don't have to worry about the just strength of a Callista in the early game. You don't even have to worry about a Renekton anymore from the side of SAIC, which thank God, because I think Canes really did not enjoy himself up in that top lane.
Yeah. And there is one thing I want to note, though. I expect to see more of this top lane style out of Cole the Meek. He has been playing this way against most of the top laners in the league, and Kane's has been known to play this tanky style. Mundo is a champion he's played a lot of. We know his Tom Kench. He can deviate. We've seen him pull out some very strong cannons, but I do think this is just stylistically a bad matchup for Canes. And it is a bit of a question on how they want to deal with that moving forward.
That is a very good question. Honestly, if it's just a bad matchup for him, I would like to see them try to just put him on things like maybe or an Scion, things that can help the team, but don't have to like interact with the top laner at all. Purely because I feel like if Canes interacts with Call the Meek at this point in time, he's just gonna get completely like shut down.
Agreed. But I can throw it the other way. I am a huge fan of Souls in the jungle, but the reality is he had very little impact in this game. Now, some of that is just the matchup. Nunu is an early game machine, and Gragas does want to farm and scale a little bit, especially just to get to 6. But it definitely went a tad beyond that. We didn't really see Souls have any kind of meaningful impact on the state of the game, and I would like to see him find some more ways to get in early, either to help get his top laner out of the lane and move him around the map, or to help protect his bottom lane so that they don't get hit with the enemy jungler as hard as they did.
I definitely agree with you. On that note, I do need to real quickly be right back.
Yeah.
So I'll be right back while we're still waiting for them.
Absolutely. And as Nova takes a quick break, we are going straight into draft here as the bans pop up. Let's see. Smothered and Covered is on blue side, by the way, as Worm, losing game 1, has opted to take red side with the counter pick. Jinx ban. I expect this may be banned the whole series. Lucian being banned in response, Worm saying, hey, we saw what you did with the Lucian Braum. We don't want to have to deal with that. Zillion. I expect that these two bans in particular are going to be staples. And then Tristana being answered in response. Smolder just hard targeting this bottom lane. I think Sivir is the last Apex tier champion for V7, but we've also seen him pull out Misfortune. We've seen him pull out Swain. He does have some champions to pick, but his pool has definitely been pinned a little bit. And best of for Smothered and Covered, you have to believe that this is going to be going over to Tej, who has had a lot of success on it. But they're hovering the Amumu. Is a more neutral champion, better playmaker, bit of a slower sort of early game emphasis, however. Nope, going for the Ambessa, wants to carry, says he can make it happen. There is that Sivir. I do like to see that. You've opted on to red side so you don't get your first pick AD carry. And then you just want to be able to pick some champions that can go fast with the Sivir. Udyr is one of these. We saw Souls run a clinic on this champion against Misfits in their series last week. I think this goes really well with the Sivir. You press R, Udyr starts just gunning at you. It is a terrifying feeling. Souls was also highlighting how versatile Udyr's builds are right now, so he doesn't even feel this is really a counterable champion. Any kind of comp that SAC pulls out is a comp that he has a build for.
Okay, I am back, and so far I am loving the first pick from SAC. I am also loving the Sivir response from ITW. Yep. We are going to see a Victor from SAC. That's going to be a very strong mid lane. Um, Seeing as one of the bigger counters to get Victor is Galio and is already off the board, that is actually really good for them.
The I think as well on Worm's side, we talked about drafting more to their comfort with the heavy targeting of the bottom lane for 80 carries banned. Sivir is the run remaining what I would call apex tier 80 carry for V7. Udyr is a champion. Souls has had a lot of success on these two champions work well together. SAC on the other side has drafted a ton of damage, a ton of what I would call zone control, but they don't have any real go buttons yet, and that's what I would look to see them draft to round out their support and top lane positions.
Yes. At the same time, we are. Oh, never mind on your go button because Syndra just says no to that. Uh, at the same, I was going to say at the same time, I want to see something like that can enable the Yunara. Yunara is a very good champion, but she needs a support that can actually enable her, like maybe a Lulu or even Emilio at that point in time.
There is a support Smothered and Covered have played in the past with Yunara that I think we may see here if it's not banned, and that is Karma, which I think works out really, really well here.
Yes, Karma is going to also work purely because it can enable her. Another good enabling champion that would be
that is
interesting to see. I was not even going to say Braum.
No, the unbanned.
Oh, you were saying the missing one. Yeah. Okay.
If you miss a ban in this league, you can type it out in the lobby chat immediately before any other picks and bans come out. They're letting us know that it was Braum.
Gotcha. I was misunderstanding what you were saying by that. But anyways, another interesting champion that SIC could pick to enable the Yunara is a Nami. Nami can not only be able to disengage for Yunara, but can also enable her with the E, which, if I am correct, just got buffed. Did it not?
I also think that Nami is one of Calico's best supports and very strong with Sivir. Removing Nami from the pool can be effective both to enable Yunara and to take it away from
Yes,
her the series.
Tidecaller's Blessing just got buffed.
Yeah.
We are seeing Darius here. That's an interesting blind. But at the same time, you do want to give your Sivir a favorable matchup. So I can understand why you would blind your top laner here.
I think it goes even a little bit deeper than that. Both Worms and Smothered's comp have a lot of good elements, but there are some things that they need to stitch it together. And I think Worm is saying, hey, Sivir enables the Udyr Darius. We can press R and run at them. That may be enough. It may not be enough. Let's hold the support and see whether we need to run a hard engage or disengage or an enchanter. With Leona, it doesn't enable the Yunara like you asked. It is that go button in terms of drafting the comp. And there is the Tahm Kench pulled out. We knew it was happening
honestly,
eventually.
I do. Yes, I do not like SAC's comp here being rounded out with a Leona Tahm Kench. Purely because the Yunara needs enchanter to be able to be useful. Like, a lot of Yunara's kit drives on having an enchanter. Meanwhile, we're going to see Sivir getting the, hey, let's buff you up with Emilio. It's just, not only that, but you counter the Leona now with your kickball. So it's like, what can SAC do here now? They have to play away from the Yunara at this point.
So we are almost in a mirror of the draft from game one. I like Worm's draft a whole lot more. I do think Worm's draft is a little harder to execute because, once again, you don't have real go buttons. You've got Sivir and Udyr and Darius with the Sivir ult running at them. You can look for a Syndra stun, but that's not a super reliable thing to guarantee. And then you have to play into the Leona Tahm Kench. These are not things you have to do, but they are things you need to make sure you avoid doing. But there are two noticeable differences from game one and game two that let me favor Worm's comp a lot more. The first is comfort. Udyr, Sivir, Syndra. These are very comfortable champions for their players. We've seen them win games on mastery of these champions alone. And the Sivir interaction with Smothered and Covered. If you just run it Smothered and Covered, Leona Tahm Kench might provide enough peel for Yunara and Victor to just dish out damage, and then you never actually get to the carries. Except, Sivir's just going to hit the closest tank and kill Smothered and Cover's backline that way anyway.
Yes. Honestly, looking at the draft though, I do see a way that SAC can win the team fights, and that is by having the Mbessa on the flank. If Mbessa can get a good flank onto Sivir, onto even just the way that they can disengage being the Emilio, they can easily win a team fight because Emilio cannot stop an Mbessa that is going to public execution you.
I agree. I think the story of this game is how well you can protect V7 in the lane and how well you can protect him in team fights. Because if the Sivir is free hitting, it almost doesn't even matter who he's hitting. The ricochets into the type of comp that Smothered and Covered has drafted will almost always hit their targets and deal enough overall damage to win a fight. But there are a lot of go buttons on Smothered and Covered. You have the public execution from Mbessa. Leona has 3 different forms of crowd control. Emilio is a great champion for peeling. Syndra, deceptively good at peeling as well with that Scatter the Weak. But at the end of the day, it is going to be very much on V7 to position correctly so that he doesn't force his team to use all of their resources to keep all of these go buttons off of him.
Yes. Other than V7 being the primary form of damage for this team, in all honesty, it's arguable that the biggest thing that they need to protect is that Emilio. Emilio with that shield, with the W, is going to be very vital to their team altogether.
Agreed. If your Emilio gets hit with a Leona ult and then just gets Victor combo to death before he gets to ult, the team fight's going to look very different.
Yes. At the same time, that Syndra is going to be reliant as well with the damage that she can output with her ultimate. The Scatter of the Weak, everything. But it's going to take a lot of pressure onto that Syndra as well. Same thing for that Sivir. That's going to put a lot of pressure onto the players in itself.
There is another interaction that I expect to come out at some point in this game. It's a little niche, but I think it will overall have a lot of effect on these team fights. Is that Darius into Tahm Kench, if you remove the nameplates, if you remove what we saw from game 1, is actually a bit of an even matchup. It's pretty easy for Tahm Kench to get so tanky that Darius can't shove him out, especially because Tahm Kench can continue to heal himself in these extended trades. But you just know Darius is going to build an early back cleaver. Darius walks into a team fight enabled by the movement speed of the Sivir ult and gets a multi-man Q off, applies 1 stack of bleed to many members of the enemy team. That Black Cleaver is going to apply that armor shred over and over and over again while the Sivir boomerangs are bouncing. Smothered and Covered's comp is potentially going to feel a lot squishier than you'd think it should.
That is very true. Honestly, I would think. I think the best, or not the best, but the matchup that's going to matter the most is going to be that top lane matchup. If the Darius can get ahead, ITW stands more of a chance than anything else.
The question is whether they move him around the map and play through him correctly, or if we see a repeat of game 1 where he takes that lead and gets caught repeatedly off in the side lane.
Yes.
We are in an ad break as we wait for the spectator delay to catch up, which I will use to refill my water bottle.
Yes, I am going to use that to plug in my charger. Well, he's stepped away for a moment. If anybody can hear me, that is subscribe to the channel. we are going to look to see a mid lane also potentially be a very heavy, important matchup. Syndra versus Victor, while not like the most common matchup, because normally you'll see Victor into Orianna, Victor into Azir, those types of matchups. It is going to be a very heavy skill matchup. The one that comes out on top in that lane will be the one that can take over a game. Victor, though, does scale. Syndra, though, does also scale. They each scale with things with their passive
And
that upgrade their abilities. So it's definitely interesting.
As I return, I want to highlight that I think they scale in different ways, but in ways that complement the comps that both teams have drafted. Smothered and Covered have drafted a very, very conventional front-to-back comp with the Ambessa to provide just a little bit of spice and variety in how you can play these team fights. Victor loves front to back. He drops down a stun, he drops down his ult, and creates these zones that you just really don't want to fight through, but you have to fight through if you want to get to the carry targets. Whereas Worm's comp is a lot more skirmish heavy. You have 4 champions that can each be the carry, each be the damage dealer here. You have champions that can kite back dive, a lot more versatile battle lines. Syndra getting a stun and just immediately deleting a target to open up a fight enables every other champion on Worm.
Yeah, that it does. Honestly, though, looking at the team fight, you're looking at both compositions again. I would like to try and play a little game here. Looking at the mid lane, since we're talking about that. If there is any champion on both sides of the matchup that you would change, or for both comps for how this matchup would be, which champion would you change, or which champion would you change and why? And to what champion?
If I could change any champion, I would change the Udyr to a Vi. Vi Syndra kills on command. It removes all the question mark of if you land a stun. You will land a stun. It is just as easy of a go button with the Sivir ult, and it forces the difficult decision making that I think Smothered and Covered has with their draft, which is how much do you want to push forward to get to the target versus how much do you want to kite backwards. If everyone has to kite backwards to protect against the Vi Syndra dive, the Sivir is free hitting.
Yes, it is. However, I'm going to go on to the side of that Victor there. I would say I would want to change that for an Orianna, purely based on the factor that if you ball onto Tej with that public execution into 3, 4, 5 people, and you use your shockwave correctly, the amount of damage that you can output all at once is just ballistic.
We are already seeing some scary damage being put down in this top side. But I would actually be a little worried about the Orianna into the Syndra. I agree with everything you said from the teamfight perspective, but your top side, if you're Smothered and Covered, the Tahm Kench should be losing to the Darius early. The Yunara Leona should not have push against a Sivir Melio lane ever. Victor is the one lane that may be able to get shoved, may be able to move with your jungler to create some kind of play and priority in the early game. And if you're playing Orianna, I don't think you have any kind of priority in the mid lane either.
You definitely will not. That is the only downside to that entirety of what I said. However, at the same time, the team fight is just so much better, especially if you are able to use your hands correctly, which, again, all depends on the players in that moment.
We saw Squadlord Ozai had some hands in game 1.
That is very true. He did have some hands. Souls just doing basic clearing. Looks like both sides are doing basic clearing, but Udyr is just faster.
I was spoiled after game 1. Where's the 3 kills that we had at this point in the game?
Right? by now first blood would have been taken last game. Honestly, I'm kind of happy to have a slower game too, but not too slow because we want to get done with this for the night. But like, goddamn, slower early game just means more build up for the late game.
I'm blurst. I've told you, we're in it for the full 5 games. Someone's gonna be playing Silver Scrapes in about 2.5 hours. I bet anything.
Honestly, though, I do like the fact that we are going to have some build up going into the later parts of the game. Honestly, I do not like though how the Sivir has already used up almost all of her mana like that.
So hold up.
It's like they're just going to go in. Sivir's going to immediately try to pull Duffy away by throwing a boomerang at her.
I am an AD carry main, Nova. So let me teach all of y'all who are or maybe are not AD carry mains an AD carry secret. When supports fight each other, always fight the other AD carry. As soon as Leona went on Melio, V7 turned onto Duffy. And that was why they won that trade. Because now Duffy was getting forced off. The Leona had already used all her cooldowns. Nothing else that she could do. If instead V7 had started hitting the Leona's tanky was going to eat all that up and Duffy would get the free hit to V7. Just a really good concept of fundamentals.
Yes, that is very true, especially in the early game when both AD carries don't really have all that much damage. The Yunara has a little bit more damage than the Sivir does early, especially because of her abilities. But Sivir is just able to auto-attack a lot faster with the W. Yeah, maybe only for 3 times, but at the same time, if you're autoing, rapid succession with not only the lethal tempo proc, but your W, you're just going to be able to dish out a lot more damage.
And meanwhile, we just barely got a glimpse of Soul's flyby ganking mid. Bird, Scrub Lord's flash for it. Souls did not have to use his flash in the gank, so as always, we'll be checking to see if he finds a good return gank on the flashless mid laner to make something happen.
Look at the damage differential here, though, from the side of ITW in that bot lane. Souls is in the wing, but we do see a Caulfield's purchase from Sivir, so that means the damage is going to be a lot more. Yeah, Duffy is going to have a lot more attack speed, but Tej is now going in. Calico forced out flash away. The heal's also coming out. W is going to be used, but that's first blood going over. Tej is low. Now Souls is trying to get away. He flashes away. V7 going to do some return damage. Duffy taking a lot of damage in return. Does not have the flash to chase after, but still has barrier available. If he chose to keep going. Looks like Duffy, I didn't even realize Duffy had Ghost that entire time rather than Barrier, so that's actually interesting. Soul's now onto the Scuttle Crab. Gonna look to trade on the Tej. Syndra's coming over to Hell. Tej, flash, okay, the Unleashed Power just gonna hit on to nothing.
That was
unfortunate timing there from Marth.
Marth didn't even get the assist. But that was just, honestly, we talked about in Champ Select, understanding mastery of the Udyr. We saw Tej walking up the river, and they were even health, and we thought for a moment could go either way. Let's see what happens. But Souls knew what he was doing. He wasn't trying to secure the Scuttle. He was stacking his passive on the Scuttle. He stacked his passive, used the enhance. Oh, hold up. Hold up.
Kench is going to eat the... okay, we're going away from that fight, and it looks like Souls is going to take some damage. Oh, the Scatter the Weak kill puts Throttle away from the team. Marth is going to get caught out now. So is V7. There's nowhere else for him to go. He does not have flash. Calico just kind of sitting there watching her team die. And nothing they can do.
And we are already starting to see some of the problems that we had in Game 1. Good objective control, good understanding of the map from Worm, but less than stellar execution. At a certain point, if this Yunara, not out of control yet, but 2 kills early, if this Yunara gets too far ahead too quickly, it doesn't matter what your comps are supposed to do. Yunara's just going to press R and shred your team.
That is very true. I do, however, like how Duffy positioned in that fight for the most part. He tried to position on the outside of Soul's range, which worked a lot. Okay, looks like Throttle's just going to be able to avoid the kickball there and just get a free ward. Calico did try to do the right thing from being able to kickball them away, but I don't think you even risk the potential engage over a ward like that this early in the game.
And we are seeing a situation you don't typically want to be in if you are Worm's bottom lane, which is you have to play respectfully of the potential jungle pressure. You're down your summoner spells, the enemy AD carry has a gold advantage on you. Sivir, you want to be able, almost like the Caitlyn, to shove in and hit the turret, but here you're kind of just AFK shoving the wave and then backing off because you have to be fearful of ganks.
Yes, I also do like the fact though that ITW or Worms grabbed all three Void Grubs. That's just going to mean the push power that they do get from the Sivir is going to be a lot better. Looks like Darius is going to get spit under the turret.
He had flash last time. He does it this time.
He does not have the flash, but the ultimate's going to come out on the Kayn, and Kayn is going to narrowly survive it thanks to the Grey Help.
We talked about comfort for SAC on game 1, but I don't think there is any single champion and player combination more comfortable than Kayn's Tahm Kench.
I mean, yes, the Kayn has 147 games played on it this season alone. He may not have the best win rate, but at the same time, if you're just that comfortable on a champion in any competitive sense, you're going to do a lot better. And it looks like the Unleashed power is going to come out on the Scrub Lord. You're not going to kill, but here comes Tej. The public execution misses. That was a very good sidestep by Barth, but it's not going to matter too much. Going to get severely chunked. Is going to... I don't agree here not staying. Yeah, if you stay, you get the entire wave. But at the same time, if they would have kept going, because Tej does have flash, there is the very high likelihood that Marsh just dies there.
I think this is, in truth,
a
bit of a high-level read, because they don't know where Souls is.
Here comes Souls. They're going to use the ghost from Duffy, and it looks like he's just going to be able to walk away.
But yeah, in that mid lane trade, Scrub Lord Ozai was also very, very low. And it looked like Tej was just trying to help him shove the wave to give him a reset because they didn't want this to happen. If they had stayed and looked for the dive, I think they would put themselves at risk of Souls.
Call the mate going to take some damage on the Kayn. That's actually some pretty good. That was a pretty interesting trade, in my opinion. If Colin Meek saves the E there, yeah, he doesn't get the initial start to the game to that trade that he wants, but he does end up, or would end up, pulling Kayn out of the W or the Abyssal Voyage, which would be very good for him. Looks like Duffy taking turret plating. Tej is in the win. And we're going to see some mid lane dancing.
So a lot of attention being brought towards this bottom lane.
I don't agree with how Throttle wanted to start that fight. I think Throttle should have started with started with his ultimate.
Yeah, I agree. And if Sivir spell shields the ult, then you go for a flash play.
At the same time, you also could have went for Sivir's spell shield can only spell shield one thing. Looks like we're gonna see Duffy gonna use the ascend, gonna take a lot of damage, gonna go down. I was not able to cast that fast enough. Now we're gonna look to see the scatter of the week, gonna hit Tej away. The breath of life going to cleanse all the CC that Throttle just threw down. But now it's looking like we're going to turn on to the dragon, which is the mountain dragon, which is going to be very beneficial for the side of SAC. That just means more armor. It's like Boomerang's going to be thrown. Scatter of the week going to be thrown again. Throttle looking to get the E. Going to take some damage onto Throttle's life.
So
the
close.
Flash. The Unleash power does not kill. Marth trying to get away. Call the Meek is in the fight. Looks like he's going to focus on the throttle. He's going to get that down. He does have flash available. He gets the
illegal!
He ult on the Tej. That's a triple kill for Call the Meek.
Fix this champion! I have 80 carry trauma on Darius pulls that look way longer than they ever should have been, and I swear to God, Nova, that is the longest Darius pull I've seen in my life.
I agree with you on that. Call the Meek gonna take some damage onto Duffy, bringing him below the half health with an auto Q. Jesus.
And we saw...
And that's literally with a Youmuu's only.
We saw Canes pick up that solo kill in the top lane, but don't let that fool you. Cole the Meek had built such a massive gold lead on CS alone that solo kill only served to close the gap. Kane still had a gold lead and is still a very strong Darius with this Ghostblade Rush as well, is buying into this movement speed power fantasy that a lot of Worms comp is trying to deliver with.
I want to mention something here. Duffy was looking for the back. He got stopped because Marth showed up in the mid lane. That is going to severely mess with Duffy's tempo. Yes, he's still on the map, but altogether, the tempo is just not going to be there. We're going to see Call the Meek get pushed on the turret again with the ultimate from Canes, but this time is not going to do much because it's just going to cancel the Abyssal Voyage from the Tahm Kench.
Seeing the directed camp bounces
Scat of the Week going to hit nothing. At this point in the game, I do want to see... I believe Victor has one... Oh, we're going to see a fight here.
No flash.
Don't immediately go on the tag. There is no flash. The ultimate comes out from Call to Me. Nothing is going to be able to help him because Canes does not have his ultimate as he used it on Call to Meek earlier. That's going to be a free Rift Herald. Anyways, before that fight kicked off, I would like to see here, because at this point, I would expect both Marth and Scrub to have at least one evolve each. I do think Scrub has one already, which is good. I'm not sure if Marth does.
Let's take a quick look. Do you know where the benchmarks are? Syndra is at 66 splinters. Oh, the passive tells you.
Yes.
He has...
Can collect up to 120, so...
2 upgrades. Upgrade Q,
two,
upgrade
that
W.
is really good, okay. And then...
Victor, 66 Glorious Evolution. I cannot tell what is and isn't upgraded.
It looks like his E is upgraded. Scat of the Week going to be used on the Tej. Tej is going to avoid it, though, just narrowly. Marth is going to die in return. Nothing being used other than the W from Scrub with a laser. Call the Meek is going to get brought under the turret again. How many times is he going to fall for that?
I'm starting to feel like top lane is a broken record. Call the Meek knows no way to play other than underneath the enemy's turret. Whether he's killing there or dying there. That's his call. Oh, Souls is looking.
Thank you. I couldn't quite tell from the artwork on the thing, Spenceman, but thank you for that information.
Oh, flash
speaking
flash.
of that information, we're going to see a flash from Souls on
it's
the Scrubs.
It's a solo bolo!
That is a solo kill. Now it's on to Duffy. Souls has no way out, but the teleport from Call to Meek. Or not Call to Meek, that's going to be from Marth. Stops that, and it looks like Throttle used her ultimate.
That kill is just in time to try to secure dragon pressure.
Yes, that was an overzealous ultimate from Throttle. Now we're not going to have that available. Holy chunk onto Duffy.
And that's what I talked about in the Champion Select. This Victor works really, really well in the front-to-back team fights that SEC want to do. But you can just look for a pick if you're Marth. And if you kill Duffy especially, that is the comp on the SEC side.
Yes. Unfortunately for them, Duffy cannot take a fight here. for this dragon, but it does not look like they're going to even try to do it. By the time they're even going to get over that dragon,
I think
okay,
this
they
is a
pulled off of
mistake.
it.
The enemy's mid laner was dead. You had chunked out the enemy AD carry. I think you had first move into the river. You've resecured river control now if you are Worm, but everyone is now up on the side of SAC. The dragon has been started.
Oh, the Meek is behind Tej. That's going to be Tej getting canceled here on the Q. The scout of the week only going to hit the Tom Kench, but Kickball is going to chunk him back down. That's Dragon secured. No, looks like they're just going to choose to back off. ITW making a correct, or not ITW, SAC making the correct call here to just back away. And once again, we're at a point in the game, just like game one, where it's just kind of been back and forth, but it's pretty even on the map. As I say that, it looks like Call the Meek is going to get engaged on the W. Goes to, the gravity field going to go down. The ultimate coming out from Scrub Lord. Call the Meek is going to walk around trying to get some health back with the Q. He flashes away.
On the court!
And that is Call the Meek surviving just barely.
He needed to survive that there. Because with these 2 items finished on Yunara, this is a very, very powerful item spike for this champion. The team fight for SAC is firmly online. The last thing you want to do if you're Worm is get caught off in the sideline.
Yes, exactly. The Fiend Hunter's Bolt just got completed for the Yunara, though, so we will be seeing it put in some work, potentially for a Baron, potentially for the next Dragon. Look like Thrall is going to get caught out here. The Boomerang going to do some chunking damage. Nothing else going to happen. Breath of Life does not get used. But the Flash from Throttle going to be used to try and get away. He gets away.
Flash is a very valuable tool for Leona because it expands Leona's engage options so heavily. Burning that Flash is going to severely limit the go button choices that SAC have.
Yes, thanks to the Scuttle Crab that Souls took away, we're going to see, they do see Tej is sitting in the wing. They know he's still there. The ward gets placed.
Oh.
That was a good try on the cancel on the back, but too little, too late. V7 just going to face tank a red buff here instead of giving it to his jungle and just taking the thing on response. But I guess when you're down gold, doesn't really matter too much about your jungle.
He's practicing for League Classic.
Yes, he is.
But
V7. Yeah.
As we take a look, there are some other item breakpoints that are starting to come through. 2 items over onto Darius as well that Deadman's played is going to mean that he should not be getting completely shredded by the Yunara anymore. It also just gives you that extra bit of movement speed so that you can hunt down your targets. We've seen this before.
I see it again.
He walked back into the turret range.
What are you doing, Meek? Stop walking into the turret.
Oh, but he's got help.
Calico for the save. The pull is going to come back in. He does have full stacks. The dunk happens on. That's going to be Call the Meek getting revenge kill from all the times he was spat onto the turret.
And that is a great roam from Calico. That is an excellent use of what your comp is and isn't good at. Sivir is Sivir. Leave V7 alone as much as you can so long as you know he's not about to get ganked. And you can roam due to Kane's what has been getting done to Call the Meek all series. Give him a little bit of extra unexpected backup as we see the public execution go wide.
Public execution just went very wide there. Also, I wanted to point out a item breakpoint here that happened while we were paying attention to bot lane. Sivir completed the Devori Quick Blades. That is a huge pickup now. That is one of the biggest item spikes for Sivir in the mid game.
So there are 2 schools of thought on Sivir itemization. And it ultimately boils down to what you value in your win condition, what you value in your play style. You do what V7 has done here, which is Essence Reaver Navori. This, we potentially see Call the Meek.
We may have a quick little thing here. Souls is going to get engaged on the throttle. Duffy going to look to try and get in, but it's going to be cut off here now. Souls just running at Duffy. It looks like some Call the Meek got put into some very bad spot. V7 forced to flash away. The Abyssal Voyage once again canceled the flash coming out from Tej. The ultimate from the Leona.
The
Now trying
Darius
to
is
run
down!
away, get away with the Darius. They're going to jump onto Scrublord. Scrublord's going to take a lot of damage, and it looks like V7 is taking a lot of damage as well. Souls gonna die. That's a double kill off on the side to Duffy Calico. That's a triple kill.
They could not quite
happened?
find the fight that they want. I'll tell you what happened. It was what we were worried about in Champion Select. They kind of just ran into the front-to-back machine that was the tanks. We saw Call the Meek pop his Ghost Blade. We saw the Sivril get used, all this movement speed. But in that tight choke, they couldn't quite find the target. And this is the Sivir itemization of work that I was trying to highlight. Essence Reaver Navori gives you unlimited wave clear, immaculate map control, but is inferior in team fight damage to Yuntal. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Yuntal Navori. And in doing so, sorry, not even Yuntal Navori. Yuntal IE is what you would typically do first, second. And as a result, despite getting to free hit for as long as he was, V7 is just not quite at a point where his free hit ricochets actually shred the enemy team. Duffy was safe.
Yes.
They ran circles around him, but only around.
Yes, to do that, you need your third item on the server at this point in time, which is not going to be the case. But we do see a third item from Duffy. I do want to point out a boot choice here for Duffy. So they went... Boots of Swiftness here, which, if you get caught by anybody at that point in time, and you don't have your team around you, you're just dead.
I think the idea, this is generally the idea when you run Swifties on an AD carry. It's, you're not supposed to get caught at all. Which sounds ambitious, but it isn't for the AD carry role. If there isn't a point-and-click crowd control tool, this seems
looks like we're seeing a wet noodle contest here, but Darius is just going to now look to kind of go back towards the wave.
I think he doesn't want to play Tom Kench's game. If he chases Tom Kench to the bush, Tom Kench just abyssal dives somewhere else.
Yes. But speaking
There's
of that,
no
it looks like
turret
Tom
here.
Kent is just going to eat him, but there is no turret there. He's just going to spin over the wall, but there he goes over the wall himself. The health is being brought. The flash go over the wall with the gray health, saving his life there because Call the Meek does not want to flash after him.
It's just cleanly fought by Call the Meek.
I do want to mention, though, both mid laners this game on equal items compared to last game.
Yes. This has very much not been about the mid laners at all.
Yes. I'm actually kind of impressed that Martha's not on 2 items compared to 3-4 items that the Scrub was on last game.
We got 2.
The Udyr just kind of running away. Or running, just, not even running away. He's just running around like a chicken with his head cut off.
That is.
I don't think Udyr knows where he wants to be at this point.
How can they
Sitting
know
on
where you're going to go if you don't know where you're going to go?
That is very true. Both teleport. No, actually, Call the Meek has teleport up. Kane's does not. If he is able to bring more than one person down to the bot lane this time, they can do what they did last game and go for that Baron.
Yeah.
Now at this point, we're just kind of sitting, like, waiting for the next big thing to happen.
Neither team really knows what they want to do at this point in the game. Smothered Coverage comp doesn't have great siege because your Victor isn't in a very strong position. So walking up to these inner turrets is very difficult for them without a Baron or a Dragon Soul to enhance them. Meanwhile, the side of If the Worm Wiggles definitely has superior wave clear, superior lane control, but they have the weaker team fight, so you can't walk too far up or you get collapsed on. So both teams are just sort of shoving waves and then backing off, while they consider their options as far as objectives are concerned. Obviously, Baron on the map, but neither team has made an aggressive move towards it. Dragon coming up in 45 seconds. You have to believe that's where the next major fight will be.
Yes, and we do have to pay attention to another item breakpoint for the Yunara. Mortal Reminder completed.
She
Call
is
the
a
Meat
monster.
is not going to heal as much as he did the last fight, but it may not even get to that point. Scrublord is going to get jumped on. The public execution went out onto Souls. Sorry, word stutter there. And it looks like they're just going to try to do whatever these...
Oh, he saved his flash for this moment! Doesn't work out!
Call Meek is inside the Tom Kench's mouth, and it does not look like it's going to make anything else. No. Oh, the cancel onto Kane. That's huge. They could just turn onto the Dragon. Don't chase this any further. They're going to continue chasing onto this. Throttle is not going to be able to go anywhere whatsoever. Call Meek going to get a second kill of that entire fight. Actually, I think that was a second kill. I don't even remember.
Well done by Worm. The initial pick and the snap decision making to just all in on it was great. I was initially a little skeptical because this Victor is arguably the weakest member on Smothered and Covered right now, and there's a lot of resources blown for him. But no matter how weak the Victor is, having to fight through that stun can be very difficult. Hold up.
They're going to try to go on to Duffy. Duffy is going to get done, and that is the end of his life. Scrublord chasing him, though.
Without the gravitation field from Victor in the team fight, it allowed them to re-engage with impunity. Tej trying to protect him took so much damage that he was no longer a threat. And then they split off Canes in the middle of the fight. And Call the Meek, all the praise, did such a good job with his spacing. He made sure that Canes couldn't rejoin. He walked towards Duffy every time Duffy thought he'd get an auto attack in, forced Duffy off, but knew he couldn't actually chase the Yunara, so whenever Duffy backed off, he turned right back around and made sure that he was applying the pressure to Canes. They had no front to back in that fight, and with the battle lines blown open, Worm's comp was able to shine.
Looks like we're going to see Souls and Tej here trying to fight over the Scuttle Crab. That's not going to happen very far. Oh, who secured it? Public execution going wide. I did not see who secured it. Oh, Souls got it. That's actually huge for the side of ITW. I do want to point out something from the last fight that I did not notice either before the start. Randuin's Omen was picked up by Call to Meek.
Great pickup.
All of the damage Duffy was hoping to do to him just vanished. As well as the passive from it. Where are you going at that point in time? You're not going to get away from Call to Meek. And especially since you both have Swifties.
Something I am very, very critical about on AD carry builds as well is I don't think AD carry should almost ever build Mortal Reminder. You have 4 other players on your team capable of building Healing Cut in some capacity, but only your AD carry. Hold up.
Marth is going to get picked off here. There's not going to be much he can do. The Seeker's arm guard is popped, but oh my god, unleash power, just one-shot Duffy.
I mean, what are you going to say? Duffy just got outplayed there.
Yeah, the outplay button certainly looked very good there for Marth.
Hold up.
And here we go again, once again getting shot under the turret. Call of Meek is going to cancel Kane, though. That is no ultimate now on the side of Kane, and it looks like they're going to go in from Throttle onto Souls, and he's going to get punished for it. Just getting shredded. Flash comes out. Soul taking a lot of damage, but so was SAC. There is nothing they can do in this play now. Souls is going to force Kane to flash away after just running straight at him.
SAC's AD carry only just now respawned. You are allowed to overload the bottom side without risking the Baron.
Oh. V7 just going to cancel the tempo from the side of ITW, which is a very good cancel. Honestly, purely because that is going to set them off from being linked on the map together. Meanwhile, Call the Meek in the mid lane. Kind of just threatening Duffy, but now he has the backup of Throttle.
And I expect we're probably going to be seeing a Jack Shows or something similar coming out of Cole the Meek, who is very, very strong right now, trying to finish his last item. No, he is just full by the Sterix Gauge. Opts for a slightly more offensive option. Obviously, good bruiser item for him. And here is the question that I always want to ask when champions enter this point. Cole the Meek is level 19, full build. He is no longer linked to farming to make himself stronger. He only needs to farm to shove a wave out for map pressure, which really opens up your options if you can see them. How does Worm use this very strong player as the game freezes?
There may have been a pause that we were not able to see in this game.
We're back.
Yes. Looks like Syndra's not going to continue pushing the top lane in order to... with the teleport up, which is kind of a bad idea in my opinion here. Because that... yes, the wave is going to keep stacking and going to get the pressure all together, but playing that wave is going to be very vital for the side of ITW. And it looks like they're being forced to face check into them. Tej going to take a scatter of the week to the face, but damage on the souls is huge from Duffy.
And as we see this dragon come up, just to showcase what is at stake,
Ooh,
soul
point scatter of the week
for the Worm. If they get this, they secure the Chemtech Soul, whereas only 2 dragons on the side. Oh, Call the Meek's in the back line.
Call the Meek got in the back line on to Scrub. He's going to look to continue. Marth is going to die. No one traded for him. Scratch that. Tej just died with a public execution to the face. Looks like Call the Meek is looking for Duffy. Duffy taking a trade with the Sivir for the double kill. Call the Meek gonna take out Scrub with a dunk throttle, taking a lot of damage, going in on to 7. 7's able to barrier. There is no way Throttle can survive. The dunk does not kill, but 7 gets the kill credit onto Throttle, and that is going to be Dragon Soul secured from the side of ITW.
And you know what the big difference maker in this fight was? Infinity Edge finished for V7. The last Whisper component, the armor penetration critically finished for V7. Now those ricochets hurt. V7 was in a horrible place in the fight, but it didn't matter. Anyone that he hit ended up hitting Duffy. And Duffy, without even getting caught out, found himself so low because those ricochets did what they were meant to do. The comp came online for Worm at just the right time.
Someone pointed this out in chat. It is practically a flame horizon from Call the Meek at this point in time. Almost 100 CS up. At this point, I can only imagine how much gold he is up, but Tej, ooh, that's a turret going down pretty quickly. The Ghost is not available for Call the Meek, but he is able to avoid the public execution.
He's just gonna walk out. No,
that wasn't a public execution. That was a Duffy ascended W. That's literally Duffy's ultimate out for free.
And while a soul-powered Worm is setting up around Baron too. If you look for a timer to force a Baron fight, this is it. Yunara without her ult is so much weaker.
That is very true. As well as Yunara doesn't have the aggressiveness of the Ghost even available. Honestly, I think the Ghost is coming back into Yunara at this point in time and biting her in the butt. There is no defensiveness.
I feel like Ghost is great when the enemy team just wants to run at you, which they do. But Yunara sort of overthought the process. If the enemy team is going to get to you anyway, and they will.
Speaking of which, it looks like Call the Meek is going to go on to Tej. Tej is looking to just dash around. Call the Meek taking a lot of damage. There goes the Breath of Life. Now, ooh, what the damage out. I can't even cast this with how fast they are all dying. That is an ace, and it looks like ITW is going to take game number 2.
Such a supreme
clean ace.
That was such a supreme display of his limits. I thought Cole Lemeek was going to get shredded. I thought he went in just a little too early for his team, but he trusted that they were going to follow up. They peeled off the Baron instantly. They popped the Silverhold. They ran to him, and he was just tanky enough to get another cast of his Q out. That's game 2. We have a series!
Honestly, the breath of life there towards the Darius there also kept him alive pretty well, which is very beneficial for him, seeing as Darius with that Q literally will benefit from the breath of life from the Melio quite more than most anything.
We can kind of see sort of like what these comps were doing at work. 43,000 damage from Cole Lemeek, the most damage in the game by a wide margin. But despite the clinic it looked like Duffy was running for so much of this game, V7 outdamaged him, because that's just what Sivir does.
Am I seeing things, or was Sivir building into the Collector there towards the last item?
I don't think this was Collector. I think that was going to be Serpent's Fang.
I can see it, but at the same time, I don't want to, because Serpent's Fang's kind of useless on Sivir in my...
It is phenomenal. Shut your mouth. Into Tom Kench, Victor, and Bessa? Please.
I just don't like Serpent's Fang as an item. Okay, that's just an opinion. I just don't like it as an item.
Okay, if it's just an opinion, you are allowed to have wrong opinions. That's fine.
Back to what I was saying, in the draft, though, remember how I was saying that Duffy doesn't have a way to be enhanced in any of the team fights other than himself with his abilities, right?
What?
Now, imagine if you have Karma, Lulu, Nami. Anything that you could use for the benefit of the Yunara.
I think they drafted themselves into a bit of a box with the champion tools that they had available. Because what you would typically want to do with the first 3 champions that you drafted is draft that Karma, draft that Enabler, and then draft your Go button in your top laner. But I don't think Kane's quite had the champion pool to have like a simple Go button. The best champion he could have probably pulled out was Malphite, which was very intelligently banned out by Worm in round 2. So they settled for Tom Kench, which does fill the tank role, but that Abyssal Dive isn't a reliable Go button, and they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to make the comp happen without it.
Yes. Honestly, there is several champions that he could have gone on for like a Go button. Yeah, the Malphite was banned, but you also could have done like an Ornn. You don't think an Ornn is in his pool? Really?
You think an
Ornn is like brain dead simple, in my opinion. With his ultimate, yeah. They had no way to stop it.
I don't know. I feel like every time an Ornn is used, it only ends up hitting one target.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen much of this league to say that. But like, Ornn is a very reliable, in normal competitive play, a very reliable Go button with his ultimate. Sion is a very reliable Go button. You could even theoretically say Gnar with his Mega Gnar is a very reliable Go button.
Gnar, I agree with.
Or even Volibear.
Volibear's not a Go button.
With his ultimate.
Nah.
I mean, you can use him as a Go button if you really want to.
If you really want to, but then you're absolutely scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as Go buttons are concerned.
Yeah. Honestly, there's still plenty of things that you could even do. Like, theoretically, you could take a champion from, like, the jungle and bring it top lane and use that as a Go button. Like, Rammus or some shit like that. I don't know. It's like, when you're trying to think of a Go button, you have to be creative.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I think the problem isn't creativity. I think the problem boils down to the champion mastery that the players had available at their disposal. I think the best go button from what I've seen Kane's play was probably Kennen.
Interesting.
And it's not the best go button of the champions you've listed. I think it's just the best go button from his pool.
Gotcha. Okay. Look, are we having them swap back to red side? What I'm seeing?
It looks like they are. Yep.
Yeah. Honestly, I think if I had to say, I think SAC's red side is much better than the blue side. That's just purely based on what I saw last game. It did not seem very comfortable blue side, like at all.
I want to see them save their counter pick for their mid laner this time around, though. A lot of the safer blinds are starting to get off the table. I think we need to be realistic. Saving counter pick for Canes, if you save it for that top lane, is only going to help mitigate what will still be a losing lane. But we have seen that Scrublord Ozai can get the better of Marth when given the chance.
It looks like they made an oopsie and ITW accidentally took red side on the draft. Oopsie.
So I think now that we're 2 games deep and the Fearless draft is going to start hitting some champion pools, I think saving counterpick for your mid laner to help him have a higher impact could do wonders. Because realistically, you aren't going to find a top lane matchup of counterpick that will let Canes win. There's something to be said for mitigating the losing lane, but if you're using your red side last pick counter pick, it shouldn't be to mitigate a losing lane. It should be to secure a winning matchup.
That is true. Honestly, looking at what could be played here for AD carry, yes, we were just talking about what we could do for counter picks. I kind of want to see them stay away from like the traditional hyper carries, like the Jinx, the Kaisa, that type of stuff. And I want to see if they can play some of the more like team fight reliant hyper carries, like Zeri, or even something like an Aphelios that is very reliant on your team and being able to team fight correctly.
From what I've seen of these players, I don't think we are going to see a Zeri, but I think in a similar vein, we might see a Xayah. Maybe not quite as teamfight hyperscaly as you may be looking for, but with Tristana and Jinx and Smolder getting consistently banned in this series, I think Xayah is a champion that both these AD carries play that might be pulled out. V7 still does like Misfortune. I don't think that's something we will see Duffy play.
Real quickly, because I just noticed it on the stream, can you exit out of that enjoying the site thing on your thing? Because it's cutting off some of the bands. Nope. I just happened to look over at the stream and see that.
Because that is being generated by my ad blocker.
God damn it.
You can still see the bands. You just can't see their mouths.
That is interesting. Okay, well.
And I am curious, with these heavy AD carry bans, what did I say? I would not be surprised if this gets locked in.
Vivian, Smolder, Xayah. Okay, I like the Xayah. Now, the only thing I want to see then from ITW, excuse me, is are they going to immediately resolve to the... Okay, they pick Zyra.
I almost feel like you should lock in Xayah if you're Smothered and Covered. I think other than Xayah, Twitch is the other high priority champion that Duffy can whip out. I think the other champions that you listed, like Zeri, are perfectly fine, but I have never seen Duffy play Zeri or Aphelios. I would be a little surprised if he whipped it out here in Game 3.
Honestly, I'm trying to now think if that Zyra is going to be the jungle pick or if that Zyra is going to be for support.
It is
flexible. If that Zyra is for support, Recall just screwed themselves.
It is flexible mid-support for Worm. Marth has played Zyra a number of times.
That Zyra is officially, or that Rakan has officially screwed themselves. That is one of the worst matchups in the game for Rakan.
I concur.
And then
I think
okay.
the thought
I'm not
process
sure how I feel about the Hue.
is to grab the Rakan to deny the Xayah Rakan because they didn't want to pick Xayah here, but I think that is you shot yourself in the foot so that you can later shoot yourself in the head.
Okay, yep, we are lit. They are going for blood with the Zyra Jarvan Misfortune teamfight combination already in the game.
And they are
Locked
still keeping
away.
their support mid flex a secret. We still don't know where that's going to go, which means that
Yes.
SAC has to continue to question whether or not this Hue and Rakan are what you want to build around them.
Honestly, I think SAC, okay, and we don't pick AD carry here. We just pick Nefiri.
This is Herald League Game 3 specialty. I don't know why, but just in Herald League Game 3s, teams just pick tons of damage.
Honestly, I wanted to see from SIC to immediately pick the Xayah, so that way they could avoid the fucking team fight that ITW is looking for, at least on one of their major carries, which is theoretically the best option that you could go for. Instead, you go for the Nefiri, which, yes, you can one-shot Zyra and you can one-shot Misfortune. But, like, if your AD carry is suffering because of it, is it really worth it?
I think these round 2 bans from Worm are very intelligent. Once again, removing the Malphite, removing the easy go button. They are daring Smothered and Covered to grab Xayah, which is just not good here.
Now, what are they going to pick here for first? Are they going to force their top into the blind, or are they going to... Honestly, I think they should force their top into the blind here.
Yeah.
Save the AD carry, which is an important pick, to see if that Zyra ends up in the mid or Zyra ends up as support. Honestly, I would like to see that Zyra, or we just pick Nyla. What?
I think Nyla
what?
is strong and good in a lot of situations. I don't think this is one of
them. This is not one of them.
Because... So, I want to talk about something that I think doesn't get highlighted a lot in team comps. People talk about damage profiles, mixing your magic and your physical damage. There's also range profiles. You don't want all of your champions to pile up at the same range point, otherwise it makes it very easy for the enemy team to just drop AoE on you. You are playing the Fury, Nyla, Rakan, like really hard go champions, into Misfortune, Jarvan, Zyra, and now Seraphine. None of these champions is allowed to go in. They just aren't.
Honestly, Aurelia, I mean, okay. I will give this to you as a top laner because you have completely destroyed him the other 2 games, so I'm going to give it to you. I'm still confused which one of these 2 is support.
It's Seraphine support.
Is the Seraphine support?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then bot lane has a little bit of an easier time now, which is sad because as much as I love playing and I love Rakan as a champion, I definitely think Zyra into the Rakan is the better call.
I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Zyra is better, but trying to play Rakan, Nyla into Misfortune, Seraphine sounds brutal anyway.
That it does. But at the same time, I think if you're trying to give yourself a winning game, you definitely put the Rakan behind.
And
I mean, yes, at the end of the day, in team fights, he's not going to be able to go into you because Seraphine.
I have said
yeah,
pretty much all series, this comp is better than that comp, but you can't account for execution. It is very hard to lose this game on execution with Worm's comp because their comp is very point and click damagey. Not, in a literal sense, but you have to almost be asleep at the wheel to not have effective Jarvan ults or effective Zyra ults into Smothered's comp. Rakan, Naafiri, Nyla, and Set, all of these champions cannot just walk up to Worm's comp without getting obliterated. And no one is going to give them an entryway. Only Hui is allowed to play this game. And past a certain point, unless... My name just escaped me. Unless Scrublord, thank you. Unless Scrublord just runs a clinic in this game, I don't think Smothered and Covered really have an angle.
I was about to say, unless Set just magically does Set things, I think this game is just not going to be fair for SAC.
There is one other thing that could happen. If Worm completely fall asleep at the wheel and just move around the map in isolated groups, Rakan the Fury can pick people off very, very easily.
That is also very true. However, I think the more likely thing to happen, because it is very easy to happen and completely forget about, is that Set doing things. I 100% think that is so easy to forget about.
It is. I want to be as impartial as I can about a team's chances of winning, but I do think after these first two games, we just kind of have to accept, though, that Kolvamik is performing better in this top lane. I will be surprised if I see Kane's... I'm not going to say he won't have an impact. Like, you have to respect the Haymaker. You have to respect
definitely not. But even in the games that he's lost, Kane has had some impact, or has had some impact.
But I will find
it more, but...
I'll be surprised if he can play to a level where he is the difference maker in whether or not Smothered and Covered can win this game 3.
Yes. I definitely think, though, that Jarvan in this composition is going to be a little off-put for ITW. But at the same time, if you're using that Jarvan to set up a really great team or ultimate for both Misfortune and Seraphine, it's going to be so easy. But you need to be able to watch for what you can do.
Jarvan's job in this game is to burn flashes, because pretty much everyone except for Hui can just get out of the Jarvan ult for free. The Set can if he ults Jarvan out of his own ult, which I think he should be a lot of the time. I also don't think Jarvan should be ulting Set most of the time. Nyla should have a lot of dash targets to just dash out of the ult. You can also just dash through Jarvan himself if he's positioned himself too close to the wall. So I think as long as Souls understands that he is there to burn flashes, back off, and then let the Seraphine or the Zyra look for a re-engage, he should have an easier time. If he thinks his Cataclysms are going to be sticking and he overcommits, he can find himself giving over more deaths than he may want to.
Yes. Honestly, though, I think that the Wombo combo that ITW has is very lethal for the side of SHC, and they need to be careful of that.
I agree.
They need to be. If you misstep once, you're dead.
Something else we haven't highlighted on, they don't have great ways of interrupting the Misfortune ult. It is only Rakan that's really going to be doing this. Hopefully, you aren't Misfortune ulting so close to Set that he is a reliable interruption choice. And depending on how you set it up, depending on how far back you are, Rakan probably has to give his life to interrupt a Misfortune ult a lot of the time.
Yes, and that's actually a very good point that CLT brought up in the chat. There is so much dive potential from SAC that Hui just feels very left out.
Yeah.
Yes, he has some range, but if the rest of your team is in there and Aurelia gets on you, what are you to do?
If
At that point, you just throw up a white flag and say, hey, kill me.
If this game starts to push 4 or 5, somehow 6 items, I think SAC have a real game that they can play, because now you have a very, very squishy comp on the side of the Worm that has to play into this very powerful way. Nyla can kind of 2 or 3 shot enemies once she starts hitting 5 items. Same with Nefiri. I just don't think Worm should ever let them get that far.
The only threat that I am worried about from the side of SAC early is going to be the Nefiri.
Yes, and I do think there's going to be a lot riding on how these two junglers play the game. Jarvan notoriously is a hyper-aggressive early-game jungler. Nefiri is not as aggressive as Jarvan is, but wants to play the game very fast-paced so that she can get her hubris, so that she can start to get that stacking and start to get some kills under her belt, because like all assassins, this is essentially a snowball champion. If you're 20 minutes into the game and you don't have any kills on Nefiri, you're going to feel pretty bad about it. But if you're 20 minutes into the game and you have no kills on Jarvan, but you've got assists, you've done your job.
You're still going to feel pretty good, yeah. Like, honestly, I think if I had to look at matchups for this game, I think Aurelia versus Sett is going to play a very key point in terms of the lanes. I already know the jungle matchup is going to be a key part of this game. But in terms of bot, top, or mid, that top lane is going to be very important.
I agree. I think we've talked about what Call the Meek has been able to do for this team and for his lane. But Sett is, if you take the nameplates away, if you just assume these are completely even skilled matchups, Sett is the linchpin in the comp for Smothered and Covered to allow them to play. He is their pseudo engage. He gives them breathing room. If Sett does find a lead or even just goes even in the lane, I do fancy their chances a whole lot more in a 5v5 scenario, because that Sett can be hard to punch through. No pun intended.
I agree there. The only thing is that Aurelia has some cheaper items compared to Sett, at least early. So unless Sett gets super far ahead, it's like,
well, Aurelia's full build once she has.
Once Aurelia completes Blade of the Rune King, it's going to be extremely hard for Sett to do anything in the lane, unless Aurelia just completely screws up. Because let's face it, the W that Sett has is very interesting, to say the least.
And we are in game.
Yes, we are. Looks like we're going to see some standard runes and standard buys from everybody, which love to see it.
Cleanse from
also, I love to see the first strike from 7. That means they're going to look to try to go the more lethality rather than the Bloodthirster first buy, which is, in my opinion, the better set to go.
I agree. I think the reason you go Bloodthirster as Misfortune is if you believe there will be an extended laning phase and you want to become immovable in it. That's not what you want here. You have the double range matchup into a double melee matchup. You just want to bully him.
Yes, the entire reason for the Bloodthirster is if you think that they're going to be able to fight you a lot. You want that sustain. However, in this game, I genuinely don't think that lane phase they want to fight you a whole lot.
No.
If I'm being honest.
Smothered and Covered is just trying to survive. And if you are V7 and Calico, you don't want to let them. You want to get as much damage.
Speaking of fighting, it looks like Call the Meek is going to force the Mr. Kane to flash.
I feel like we've been here before, Nova.
Yes. That was extremely quick of a flash. And this time, Kane doesn't have an ultimate to fit him under the turret. Oh, the flash from Call the Meek going to come out. The Ignite going to go down as well. That is going to be first blood. And no trade back from the E from Kane because he was only level 1. So there was no damage in return. Looks like Duffy is just getting shoved on the turret in the bot lane, which is very standard for this matchup, honestly. It's also kind of what you want. You want to be pushed onto your turret early. You want to be able to just farm in the safety that you can get.
So I played a lot of Nyla in the start of the season because she was actually very, very strong for a brief window, and I want to figure out what this champion does. Nyla doesn't get to play the game until level 6, which is why her passive functions the way that it does. You basically just have to lose with grace, but you can use your passive to take less than ideal backs and still hit level 6 equal to or faster than your opponent. Once you hit level 6, you want to look for all-ins.
Yes. Honestly, with Duffy being at level 3 currently, there is a window at level 4 where you could look to do something onto them, but you do not have the barrier in this matchup. You have Cleanse, which, yes, that's going to be beneficial for you later in the game, but it's not going to help you until that beneficial part being after like 15 minutes. The Flag of Drag does hit, but it's not going to do anything because Scrub Lord flashes away.
I mean, it's not going to do anything. It's going to burn the flash. Oh.
Call the Meek using his W to survive Set W, which is good. Honestly, that's a lot of damage that got negated, and it looks like top lane, both jungle, they're going to come. Souls is first. Or not Souls is first. Souls is second. Tej is first. Call the Meek going to look to try and take some minion damage. You're going to take some minion. Oh, my lord.
He is playing with fire.
He really is. And there is no teleport for him to get back in the lane.
I do want to
highlight. So he's going to lose a lot here, which is very good for Kane.
Call the Meek picked up an early call, which is a bit of an ego flex. I can't say I blame him with the way he has been playing in this series so far, but we can just keep an eye on that, see if he gets punished for it, already being forced to take a less than optimal back, so maybe that is part of it.
I honestly think he did that because of the fact that he is expecting to try and farm to Blade of the Ruined King as fast as he can. That is the only reason I think he did that. Looks like Throttle is going to get a hit on a ward and be forced to back away because Souls is still there. Duffy honestly doing a really good job to avoid the double ups though. And as I say that, Scrub Lord taking a massive amount of damage. There is no flash. The fear comes out. Marth still doing damage. He's going to take him very, very low. There is no way Scrub Lord can stay. Marth has complete advantage in this lane. Stun coming out onto Kane's. Call the Meek. Going to look to try and dash around to the minions. Try and get some damage with some autos in there. Stacking the Conquer. He does have Ignite up now. So he could look to take a fight, but at the same time, Kane has W up now. So it's not going to be an easy fight. Looks like Kane's going to get the stun, or get stunned while pulling him in. That's going to be Call the Meek going to the other. Oh my lord, what just happened?
I'll tell you what just happened. Call the Meek understands matchup. Hold up. We might be getting a gank here.
Looks like we're going to get a gank here. Looks Tresh is going to avoid 7. 7's going to flash away. But it's not going to turn into much other than some blowing of summoners.
And one of the many advantages.
Was pretty good from them.
Yeah, one of the many advantages to having the winning bottom lane is, yeah, you burn your flash and yeah, you're forced to back, but you're forced to back and burn your flash after you finish shoving the wave under the enemy turret. There's no freeze to answer. You're not going to lose any minions. They're not going to get to shove it back before you return, especially as Misfortune.
Both mid laners are going into level 6 fight. The ultimate comes down from both of them. Damage is going to hit on the Marth. That's a lot of damage from both sides. Honestly, I did not expect Hwei and Zyra to trade damage like that to being like pretty much exact. Looks like Jarvan's mid lane though.
Is our residential mid Zyra specialist. He is the only person that understands how to play Zyra in the mid lane. I'm not going to question it. I just see him do good things with it.
Honestly, Zyra is such an underrated champion, I feel like, in most cases.
I said, you look for level 6!
Flash on in. The ultimate hitting him out. 7 now in very bad situation. He does not have flash to get away. That is going to be 7 falling. Duffy getting the kill credit. Stun coming out. There is no level 6 from Calico yet to be able to encore him into the turret. But Duffy went to back and is going to look to stop it because of the dragon looking to be taken. Honestly, I think he could have continued that back because Jarvan is not in the wing or anywhere near that dragon.
I don't think
currently.
they know that he isn't, though. I don't think he's stepped on any vision. That being said, this is definitely going to be first dragon going over to Smothered and Covered. I don't think we've seen anyone.
Gonna hit on the Kane. It looks like his build is building up. Does a flash coming out. Call to make use his ultimate, but is going to still kill Kane. That I feel like we just saw this in game 1, didn't we? The exact same score at the exact same time.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this seems a little familiar. And one of the potentially scary things about the way this game may play out is, once again, we are starting to see Kolvamik run away of top lane. We're starting to see Duffy build a good advantage for himself in the bottom lane. But Irelia is a very, very good champion at killing AD carries. Typically, flash burned.
Scrub Lord flashed away. That's actually really good for Marth. The ultimate cooldown for Marth on Zyra is not that long. So
you
there
have to believe
is a very
Souls
big
to look
potential that you could, yes, as well as very good potential that Marth could even just solo him altogether.
He's certainly been trying.
Tej in the bottom side, taking some jungle camps, gonna get it for free. They're also gonna ward on the way out, only taking a misfortune in response. And Marth made it all the way down to the bot lane for absolutely nothing.
They never saw Souls. They don't know he's there. And they never will.
I don't think they know. Yes. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we're going to see Kane call the Meek, but call the Meek is going to use the minions to kind of heal back up. The stun's going to come through. The Ignite goes down, and call the Meek is on a goddamn rampage. 9 minutes into the game.
Look for another all-in.
Meanwhile, once again, Duffy's going to go in for the ultimate. The charm is going to come out late. 7 gonna look to get murdered where he stands. Not able to even remotely get away. Flash is not available yet. Barrier barely available. Duffy could look to chase this down, but he's not going to. Looks like Tej was in the wing. Gonna look to try and call away just because of the fact that they can, because I don't think they were going to be able to catch them. Calico used Encore in that fight to no avail to help her AD carry.
And the reason was they were piled on top of each other. So Calico got caught in the CC chain, same as V7.
Looking at a fight here, Marth is very low. Scrublord looking to try and get him, but not going to work. Tej has now found Souls. Souls is trying to take the red buff very greedily. Throttle is in the wing, trying to get to the... Oh, my lord. Oh, Souls flashed over the wall into his death. Unfortunate.
I think Souls was feeling himself a little too much. Jarvan is a strong early game champion, but in a raw 1v1, Nefiri wins those every time. I think the second he saw the dog, he just had to take that blast cone out. But instead, he looked for the fight, and people started to collapse on him.
Yes, honestly, I think that Jarvan initially thought that Tej was still bot side, which theoretically, or not theoretically, but in retrospect, that is the correct assumption to think, but you also need to start thinking, because of the fact that he knows his red buff is up, he's going to look to try and reset. Meanwhile, once again, we're going to see Call the Meek just bullying Kane, going to get the ultimate away, going to take some of the W damage, and is just going to kill with a Q.
Didn't even care.
And once again, I feel like we just saw this happen in game 1.
Oh, I've seen this before, too.
Speaking of things that are going to happen again, we're going to see them walk right on in. The E already being used. Calico going to be the primary focus for damage here. They
couldn't decide what they wanted to do. There was a split call.
Yes, there was, and 7 got out without taking a single ounce of damage, only just lost some mana.
Meanwhile, Meek picks up first turret up on the top lane. That's a quick look at gold. I imagine Meek has a lot of it. Meek is, goodness, 3,000 up on his opponent. It is, it's a significant lead.
Duffy looked like he was about ready to E-flash and ult there. But he chose to just E and make Misfortune back away.
Now, this is an interesting pickup from Duffy, the Yuntal, because it has a better elongated build path. Like Yuntal into Navori, into IE, into Lord Doms does a lot more damage, but it weakens your early game pretty significantly. Collector is typically what most Nylas go first, as we do see this dragon get started up. I think it's uncontested.
We did see Misfortune go with Hubers here, which is actually, in my opinion, a much better item over Collectors.
I agree.
Purely based on the passive. We do see that Aurelia looking to abuse her lead already. Bot lane, getting more and more and more platings into her name.
There is,
and Clay is going to be the one to match the Aurelia. Looks like Duffy's going to flash on in, get the ultimate. That's double flash. That's a flash being used from 7. The Encore is going to come out the same. Misfortune's using the bullet time. Not going to do much damage, but the charm with the quickness going to come out from Throttle and kill them both with just a matter of auto attacks from that point.
It looked good for a second there, but it was just a matter of inches in the execution. Everything happened correctly, but not quite on the right timing for Worm. The Encore from Seraphine was gorgeous, but V7 ulted immediately there, guaranteeing that he was still in melee range of all of these scary targets as soon as the crowd control ended. I think he needed to use that charm to back up, gain some space.
Ultimate's going to go on to Scrubloid, the ultimate being used. Scrubloid's going to fly. The fear completely misses. The ultimate's going to land. Meek taking some turret shots. It did not get the chance to ramp up yet, but it may, because Meek is taking one more free turret shot under the bot turret. Looks like bot turret only onto one thrust left. Mark's trying to stop Tej from getting the grump. Tej is going to smite it. Now trying to run away. This Q is going to hit. That's not going to do anything except do some damage. A lot of action just happened there. So much to actually unpack. So I'm going to let you kind of ramble on here.
Yeah. In honor of League Classic coming out next week, better nerf Irelia, because we are starting to hit a point as he finishes his boots and his Kraken Slayer where Meek could actually truly 1v5 the opposing team. There is not quite enough crowd control on this team, short of Rakan and the fear from Hui being perfectly chained, to lock down this Irelia long enough. She is just a scary fucking champion. That's all there is to it.
We're see a fight here. She's gonna try and go in. The smite does not come out. Flashes into the wall. That is Jarvan picking up his first kill of the game. Looks like Kane's going to try and get some damage done to the turret bot lane here. So cross map play does happen, which is good. Aurelia now going to come back towards the bot lane. If Kane stays here, he's going to die again.
And my problem, my fear, ultimately boils down once again to Smothered and Coverage Comp. To address CLT in the chat, yeah, Nyla W does go really hard against Irelia. Except you want to use that Nyla W to create space, to create time for your team to do things for you. Your team isn't going to accomplish anything because as soon as that Nyla W comes up, Irelia's just going to turn and kill the Hui. Or the Nefiri. She is just too far ahead. You want to do lockdown to be able to hold Irelia. You want to make it so that Irelia is afraid to alt flash dash forward. There is nothing here really making her afraid of that. The Hui fear is the only thing that really hard disengages the Irelia. Uh-oh.
Speaking of things that we're going to see here, Tej is looking like you're going to go on to call the meek. That's a stun coming out, going to hit 2, but there's not going to be much else he can do. The ultimate comes out from Scrublord, going to burst the Aurelia. That's a shutdown, I believe. Or maybe not. How is he 6-0 again without a shutdown? I'm not really sure. But I did want to point this out before that even happened. Calico, in my opinion, picked up first item Imperial Mandate, which is very good for Seraphine currently. Yeah. Yes, I know that the passive has changed, and currently one of the best users in the game was that Galio that he was played game 1 by Throttle. But altogether, that Imperial Mandate, if I had to give an opinion, the second best user of it in the game currently is Seraphine.
I would concur. There's a reason Seraphine got nerfed on this patch, because Seraphine was disgusting, and she is now only slightly less disgusting.
Yes, and it looks like Martha's going into a bunch of them. Duffy took a bunch of damage. The bullet time going to crane across 3 people. Full bullet time went out, but now Aurelia is there. It's going to hit Throttle. Throttle getting ulted. Someone flashed there. I did not see who, but it does not matter. Call the Meek is running havoc. That's a quadra kill for Call the Meek.
It looked
holy crap.
Dicey for just a bit, but Worm was doing everything that their comp at this point in the game was designed to do. Marth somehow found great access to Duffy, meaning that he had no true impact in the fight. He didn't get the kill, but he chunked him so hard that he wasn't able to go back in.
Speaking of Duffy, he's going to try to go in 1v2. He does take some damage, but he does force the flash away from 7. That is actually a really good flash blown, despite the loss of the team fight that just happened. That does mean the next team fight, though, that Misfortune will not have it, especially if that fight is for Baron. But Duffy taking a lot of damage from Marth here.
And it is worth noting, with a 5,500 gold lead on Cole the Meek, there is still a 3,000 gold lead on Duffy. So this is a strong, strong Nyla. I just keep going back to it. I'm not quite sure how this comp is supposed to enable her, but if you can find some isolated fights like Duffy has been looking for, it's not like there is no angle for Smothered and Covered yet.
Honestly, if I had to do something here to enable the Nyla, I would change the first item that Throttle has built. Instead of the locket, I would have gone
Shirelius.
Oh, what is it called? Not Shirelius. Hold on. Zeke's Convergence.
Yeah, Zeke's is very, very strong.
Zeke's Convergence, in my opinion, with Rakan is one of the best ability users of it.
Especially
so you
in this
quite easily are able to, you're able to proc that and be able to get everything quite easily. Especially with the storm that deals the 30 magic damage and slows them for 30%. That is going to enable Nyla so much more than most people will ever think.
I would also argue that with the ultimate ability haste on it, Rakan's ult is probably the single most important cooldown on Smothered and Covered's team, because that is most of their ability to execute a team fight. The more you have that up, the more angles you can look for.
Yes. I also want to bring up an important question that I did not see, purely because there was already so much stuff happening. Did Kane ult last week? I don't even remember.
You know, honestly, neither do I.
All right, so I'm just going to assume he did, purely to maybe disengage the jargon from someone. Mm-hmm. If he did do that, that is not the person you want to be ulting. That is not the person you want to be getting away from your team. You want to get away Cole the Meek. Cole the Meek on that Aurelia is too big.
At this point, you are not going to have close to the teamfight impact that Cole the Meek will have. The most important thing you can do is sacrifice yourself. You're 0-6-0. You've been doing it all game to get Cole the Meek away from Duffy. You cannot let
Yes.
this Irelia like that. That is every team fight for the rest of this game. It is Cole the Meek trying to find Duffy, Smothered and Covered trying to keep Duffy alive.
Speaking of things that may happen here, it looks like Soul's going to go on to Scrublord. Scrublord's going to flash. The Cataclysm is going to come down. The ultimate's happening. That's going to be Scrublord going down. Aurelia ultimate use. Bullet time going to rain across Duffy. Duffy taking a lot of damage with 7 falls into Fury. Call the Meek, though. Getting a lot of damage. This may be another quadra kill for the man. Throttle going to go very low. Go under
Give
the
him
turret.
the penta!
The quadra kill.
Oh,
There is no
he has
penta
nowhere
yet.
to go.
Kane just flashes
Give
into
it
the
to
wall.
him. Give it to him. They
They're
want
trying
to.
to.
They really want to.
And it's not able to, unfortunate. But that is the second pentakill for Cole the Meek. Or pentakill. Quadra kill. My brain already confusion. That was a lot to unpack in that team fight. They did try to catch out Call the Meek, but they did not know Souls was there. And Scrublord, for some reason, just standing still for like 30 seconds.
He was inside the Jarvan.
Not sure what that was about.
He didn't have a choice.
Well, no, I'm talking about even before Jarvan went in. He stood still for a good 5-6 minutes, just doing nothing. Not sure if he was window shopping or whatever, but like, you don't just stand still and play.
And
like, no
unfortunately,
play, right?
what I was afraid of did. Oh, hold up.
Oh, look. So we're going to get Tej to go in. Flash being used instantly from Mars to stay in the safety range. Dragon is up. I don't even know if you're going to have a chance to say what you wanted to say.
Nah.
The entire team is there already. Souls just took the red buff. No one else has it, though. Throttle going to look to W in. Bullet time raining across through. And the Dragon, Call the Meek, has the way ultimate onto him. Kane looking to ult him. Call the Meek is very low, but it's not going to matter. The stun comes out on the 2. Call the Meek just life stealing so much. Oh my lord. The W was huge there for Duffy, but it did not matter in the end because Call the Meek is just too far ahead.
Call the Meek used every ability that he had, but there's one ability that he used far more successfully than the others, and that was his wallet.
Yeah. Kane, though, did a really good job of ulting him away. That props to him.
That was the
maybe
closest.
1 in 8, but he did a good job of that.
That was the closest a fight had any right to be, with how strong Worm is right now, with how strong Call the Meek was, and he got so low. Like, if you are Smothered and Covered, and you go back and review this game, the reality is the only reason you lost that fight was because Smothered and Covered had so much gold. There is no reason he should have lived there. There's no reason he should have gotten kills. But he's just 5 levels up on your jungler, 4 levels up on your AD carry, 3 levels up on your solo laners.
Yes. The only thing from SAC that I wanted to see done better was the Misfortune Ultimate. I do not think that was positioned really well. Okay. Yeah, you forced them off with the Dragon, but like, there's better situations you could be, or better places you could be using that ultimate.
And I can give benefit of the doubt. Hold up.
And it looks like we're going to see Throttle going in. Souls is forcing them to back away. Throttle is in a very bad spot. It does not matter. Martha's going to get the kill. Now it's on to Duffy. Duffy has nowhere to go. He used E. There goes the bullet time. Gonna kill. Play ultimate on to 7. Now Scrublord is looking like he's going to die. The Encore comes out and catches the Neferi on the way out of her. Untargetable. That looked like it was like 10 HP. There was nowhere left to go.
I don't think there's anywhere left to go for Smothered and Covered at all. I think we're probably about to watch the game end as we get ready for Game 4 with Worm on match point. Real question is whether or not Smothered and Covered, as this 2-man, can put up a defiant stand. But my money's not with them.
Okay, there goes his, and now there goes Tej, and that's going to be a double kill for Seven on the way out of the game. G going into the next game, we're going to see. I honestly want to see them focus more onto the top side of the map, shut down our good old boy up there. Because that was absolutely disgusting what I just saw.
With the benefit of 3 games underneath our belt here, I think you are correct. What you want to accomplish, if you are smothered and covered, is it doesn't seem, no matter how many winning matchups Worm seems to get themselves for bottom lane, it seems like Duffy and Throttle find advantages for themselves regardless in the 2v2, but they're putting him on these hyperscaling AD carries. They're not maybe in this game, but they are typically drafting teamfight comps around their AD carry, and this is what Smothered and Covered has done well throughout the regular season and much of playoffs. Except Cole the Meek is just blasting a hole through the game plan with a nuclear warhead that he's building up at the top lane. You want to focus top, not to get Kane's ahead, not to shut Cole the Meek down, just to make sure that he doesn't build a lead so phenomenal that the game snowballs out of control. If the game slows down, if you can't just run through your comp and you get to play a front to back, you get to play through your AD carry, you get to play the game.
I definitely agree, especially if you're just able, or especially if you're just going up there, just showing some pressure and not even committing to the gank. As long as you show that pressure to where Call the Meek is forced to back away, that's a win for you in your book.
Yeah.
That is all you need to do. Force Call the Meek to not be able to play aggressive.
Play a very low econ jungle that can show on the map a lot, that can give up parts of his bottom side so that he can show top as much as he needs to cover that matchup.
Honestly, if we're talking low econ jungles, the first one that comes to mind, Sejuani.
Sejuani and Mumu is what I point at. And both of these are champions that Tej actually plays very well.
Yes, I honestly think that the Fury was kind of a little overzealous, if I had to say so myself. And that's just purely based on the fact that Neferi is one of those champions that you need to be able to get ahead. And into Jarvan, you're not doing that. Yeah, I know you picked the Neferi first, but like at that point, why would you not like swap where the Neferi is going? Because the Neferi can still play mid. The Neferi can play. You need to be able to put pressure onto that Jarvan in order to shut him down, to then shut down the rest of the map. Because, yeah, Call the Meek was able to run a preying on everyone else, for lack of a better way of saying this, but Souls was able to run a train on the rest of your map.
And we are getting confirmation that Smothered and Covered are selecting blue side this time around, and I think I know why. I expect to see Jinx unbanned so that they can first pick it as this AD carry pool starts to get pinched. Because to me, the Nyla pick felt like a bit of a grab. A what do we pick here? What's left kind of a situation.
Yeah. Again, there was so many AD carries you could have played there too. So many.
They weren't in his champion pool, however.
Man. Actually, was Lucian unbanned last game? I don't even remember.
Lucian was banned.
Let me double check. Was it?
There were 4 AD carry bans. 5 AD carry bans. Sorry. Jinx, Smolder, Lucian, Ezreal, Tristana, all removed.
What was left was the Aphelios, Ashe. You could even play Jhin. You could play Kai'Sa.
I am a Kai'Sa.
You could play Varus even if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
I love Kai'Sa as well, but at the same time, then if you're playing Kai'Sa, you don't pick Rakan. You pick something like a Nautilus, like a Karma.
Don't diss Kaiser
or even a
Rakan.
Braum.
Kaiser Rakan is very strong.
It's strong, but I don't personally like it into the comp that they were into.
No, no.
I actually think picking the Rakan here kind of troll.
I think putting your AD carry through second round ban after 4 AD carry bans in round 1 was also kind of troll. I think
that is well too.
I think it was incredibly intelligent of Worm to ban Ezreal in round 2. I think that would have been a great pick. And I think that probably
100%. Ezreal is the safest and most destructive AD carry when it comes to competitive play.
And you also really wanted lots of poke, I think, with the play. Maybe, dial back on the Neferi. Just do a lot of poke. Dare them to play into you, which is not something that Zyra, Misfortune are going to be able to do very well. If you play through that poke in that range, you would have had a much better time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Honestly, one champion that I kind of want to see from 7 that gonna hopefully put him in a better position than it would be into Duffy is Ashe. That may not be in his pool very well or very comfortably.
I have not seen him play it to high success.
Yeah. The only thing into this is if you're picking Ashe then into an AD carry that is better than you are with his hands and mechanics. Okay, you go blue side and still are banning Jinx.
Maybe they're gonna first pick the Xayah. If they don't decide to go blue and
there's Zillion instead. Cool. That works. But anyway, never mind.
If they go blue side and don't first pick an AD carry, which has definitely been the most contested role in terms of champion pool this series, I will be very disappointed.
Yes. Anyways, I was saying about the Ashe. The Ashe, because of the fact that their AD carry... We'll have to see here, I guess. There it is. Okay. So, as I was saying, because of the Ashe, or with the Ashe, because you're into a better AD carry, all you need to do is play for your team. Which, seeing Cole the Meek,
yeah,
I want to play for him too. Why are we picking Veigar? What the heck are we?
I have a read. Huh? I have a read because I know these players. There's no history to indicate this. I bet you we just saw Worm's bottom lane locked in.
I kind of want to agree with that, but at the same time, don't know why we're picking Veigar Nami if that's the case.
I don't agree. But the thought process is match stacking with stacking, match scaling with scaling. But Smolder and Veigar stack and scale very differently, and Smolder just does it better.
I guess we're going to see Canes try to diff Cole the Meek with an R.
I don't dislike this for 2 reasons. One, Gnar is a decent blind.
It is.
2.
However, I don't agree with where they picked it in the draft.
I think his champion pool has been pretty pinched. You are going to be blinding top anyway. There's no way Worm was going to...
is that Mel for mid or support, you think? Also change the draft.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. My deepest apologies.
Camille. Okay. So here's the thing. There's a player I used to coach. He's in the LCM. He played both of these 2 champions that are now going against each other top lane. He actually used to one-trick Camille. But he always said Gnar was the worst matchup for Camille. So seeing Camille picked into Gnar, I feel like is an ego pick.
I'd agree.
And you also don't have a lot of setup that you could do with the Camille now.
You haven't locked
Only
your
setup
jungle
you.
with Worm, and I feel like
Well, I'm talking about in terms of like team fight setup because yeah, you haven't locked your jungle, but you don't have like a Galio. You don't. Well, you technically could pick Orianna, but Orianna Camille. If you're picking Orianna with a Camille, you just feel like you're kind of trolling.
I think we're gonna see Xin. Oh, yep, there it is. Xin Zhao.
Yeah. Okay, so that's actually really good. That keeps away the Gnar from being able to dive in potentially with the ultimate. But if you're only using that ultimate for keeping away the Gnar, it's not very interesting.
What I think we might
They're
see,
not very good.
and I think if we see this, they're getting inside their own heads. I think we might see Vayne mid to even out their damage profile and give themselves a real AD carry. But they will be saying that to themselves. We even out our damage file and give ourselves a real AD carry without realizing that if you put Vayne mid in this slot, your entire team comp is kind of doomed.
I definitely. Oh, we get the
Malphite.
simple "Let's go R" button.
But where's he going?
I think that's Malphite jungle. I think that's Malphite jungle, but I'm not sure.
It might be. Malphite jungle into Xin Zhao. Yeah, it has to be now.
Yeah, that's Malphite jungle.
Malphite jungle into Xin Zhao is going to be honestly, in my opinion, a test on how aggressively Souls wants to play. Because you should be able to just live in his jungle and make his life a living nightmare. Gangplank mid! I forgot Marth plays this. That does solve a lot of problems.
Yes, it does. However, that's also a lot of scaling from the side of ITW.
It is. This game is going to be very much in the hands of Scrub Lord Ozai and Tej for Smothered and Covered. Because Duffy is just going to try to scale, because that's what he, should be doing. I would love to say that Kane's with the counter pick is going to dominate this lane, but we need to be realistic. I doubt that that's going to happen. But Mel is a strong early game champion, should be able to poke out the Gangplank early. Malphite obviously hits level 6 and just gets to pick fights at will, and there is very little ability for Worm to stop that. They have low mobility on their team. I think Mel Malphite in conjunction can make a lot happen early and prevent Worm from scaling. And if your Smolder gets to scale first, his range is longer, more reliable. I think that is the angle you want to look at if you're Smothered and Covered.
Here's a question, because I don't know if this works like this. If Mel is able to rebuttal Vigar ultimate, does Vigar's AP then still work for his ultimate onto himself?
I don't think so. I think the way the Mel Reflect works is the damage of the Reflect scales with Mel's AP.
Okay. That's just an interesting question I had, because of the fact that I'm not sure how that interaction works, because whenever I see a Vigar, I never see a Mel, and when I see a Mel, I never see a Vigar.
The key...
So I don't know how that interaction works.
Mel interaction that we should be looking at is actually the Nami wave. You can reflect that whole ability.
Yes, that is going to be very important for Mel to be able to block. Purely because that's going to then stop a lot of what IPW can do in terms of disengage or even simple engages.
Yeah, especially because Nami is very often used reflexively. Malphite ults in, you can bet that the second Nami stops being stunned, that R is coming out, which makes it very telegraphed for Mel.
I just saw this in chat, and I kind of had to stop myself from falling out of my chair laughing. I don't know if anybody remembers Unicorn of Loves with not Vizichachi. Was it Vizichachi? No. What was his name? EULCSUOL. Oh God, what was his name? The jungle that used to do weird things. Kickus, that's what his name was. Kickus did Gnar Jungle at one point in time. And I believe he won that game, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember that game, but I never followed a lot of EU LCS. I am an NALCS diehard, and I suffer for it every day.
Yes, Kickus was known for his like strange goddamn jungle picks. Duh. Like he was the most interesting person in the game in the world at that point in time because he did things like TF jungle, or even I believe at one point he did Z jungle before it became a thing. He did Quinn jungle before it became remotely close to being a thing.
Man, do you remember
He did
the
a lot
Moscow
of-
5 double jungle?
I do,
That
unfortunately.
was- Man, there was a time when everyone was convinced that that was going to be the best team in the world for all time.
Yes, and there was a very good reason that they did. When they've played on their shit, they were practically unbeatable.
Fun fact, just while we're here and rambling about this stuff, Moscow 5 invented Zyra support. It was a mid laner on release.
Yes, they did.
And they were the first ones to look at her and be like, yeah, this is a support champion.
Yes, they did. Honestly, I remember back in the day when I first hit Masters several seasons ago.
Were you holding your belt buckle when you said that?
No. This was back before AP carry really became like a big thing. I had not randomly, I was doing an Ultimate Bravery thing back when like in my like promotional series just to kind of fuck around and I really wasn't expecting to promote. I had landed on Anivia. And instead of AP, it told me to build AD.
Hey, Nivea's got a long auto attack range, man.
It only told me to build AD for my first 2 items, and the rest of it was tank.
So how hard did you
I
carry?
somehow still did most of the most damage in the game. Somehow.
Right.
I even remember what my support was back then. It was a Nautilus. That was some very interesting times back when I actually played the AD carry role.
Back when
I also
anything
played
could be an AD
top.
carry.
Yeah. I also remember back in the day, like before metas was a thing, you literally played mid lanes in the bot lane. It was just like, the hell.
It's still wild to me how far we've come. Back in season 1, it was really hotly contested on whether mages should be played mid or bottom because people hadn't quite figured it out yet.
Yo, and then you had top lanes just being like a mix of random shit.
It still is.
Like Nidalee. Well, yeah, it still is, but you didn't have to deal with a Nidalee top lane. You also could play Evelyn top lane back then, even though Evelyn was fucking dog shit. Oh god, what are some of the other top laners? Now I'm really racking my brain.
Can you believe that like Kha'Zix versus Nidalee used to be a common mid lane matchup?
It also used to be a common top lane matchup. And yes.
I can't wait to go back to League Classic. I have been looking forward to this for so long.
I have as well. Honestly, League Classic is going to be so much fun.
I'm so
I'm
glad
just
they
saying
made
this
the
now.
choice.
If LOL Midwest does a for fun, uh, one team versus another, I am definitely entering that shit because that's fun as fuck for me. I love that shit.
The I'm so glad that they are hiding the win rate data because we don't need people to take League Classic overly sweaty, and people will, but it'll be harder
Yep.
since you can't just look up win rates and item builds.
Well, that's the thing. I heard for a little bit there that they were planning on doing a ranked mode for League Classic as well.
That came because the initial League Classic build that hit PvE had a ranked mode, but we still don't know whether that was actually an intention or because they were just literally copying the client over while they were getting it set up.
Well, no, that's literally what I heard. It was an intentional thing. I don't know if it's changed since then, but I heard that was completely intentional.
At least right now, they have no intention of creating a ranked mode.
Honestly, if they include a ranked mode, I'm playing that shit like I used to and fucking climbing. Because that sounds like a lot more fun than current League of Legends. Especially now that they're adding more champions like fucking Graves. I can't wait to bring that motherfucker back to the bot lane.
I was so sad when they reworked him and I played him bottom and I was like, wait a second. But wait a second, we are in game now.
Yes, we are. Let's focus up on the game. Looks like we're seeing some pretty standard runes here. Except for the Vigor. Well, First Strike is a standard rune, but I would have... Wait, that isn't our jungle.
Yeah, no, they called it. They weren't joking.
I was not paying attention to the chat. My bad. Oops. But anyways, looks like Caldemeek is taking the Ignite compared. Caldemeek has been taking Ignite compared to Teleport this entire game, and I think it's kind of obvious that he's very much egoing this matchup, especially because Kayn does not have any defensiveness against Caldemeek.
And I think there's a fair bit of some players like picking what should work, but it only works if you understand the matchups correctly. I think you're about to touch on it. I think the teleport on Vigor is one such situation. It is technically the superior summoner spell because you should be able to kind of AFK wave clear on this champion. So you take the teleport for tempo because you shouldn't ever be at any risk of dying. But I think after what we have seen in this series so far, that's probably not going to be the case.
The only thing I don't like about Seven right now is the fact that he started tier compared to a normal like Doran's Ring. Kind of overzealous in my opinion. Yeah, I mean you get the stacking early, but it is extremely overzealous.
I also don't think you
however,
even need to go Archangels at all.
You don't. You really don't.
I think you go Ring. I think you go Ludens.
If it's... I honestly think he's only doing it because it's a comfort build.
Perhaps. And if that's the case, I actually don't mind it quite as much. Because if he understands the breakpoints...
Only thing I would have wanted to see changed is his Keystone. I do not like First Strike into this matchup. I would have rather seen like Dark Harvest or even what's it called? I'm brain farting on the rune.
Electrocute Comet?
Comet. That's what it was, Comet.
I actually can't comment because I have not been a fan of First Strike on any champion in any situation, and I know that is objectively incorrect. I just can't wrap my head around it. So I don't have an objective opinion on First Strike that I can accurately share.
The only one I like First Strike on in this game is Gangplank because he just uses it so well.
Well, hold up.
Oh, Baby Cage is going down. Nara's in for the play. Seven's forced to flash
Great
away, but
bubble.
the Nami bubble is huge. But it's not going to matter just quite yet. And it doesn't matter at all. The heal went down from Nami. And Duffy's just going to get some few extra stacks here.
Just going to say, barrier might have made a difference.
Yeah. The only thing is, if you're pushing up that far on Veigar, you should never really be pushed up that far on Veigar, actually. Okay, taking a lot of damage here. He's going to get the behind the back there. If
I'm
Souls
changing the
plays
camera.
it.
I want to see what goes on here.
They're stopping the back. They're cutting off the wave. He's looking to try and... The wave is crashing. The hook shot's going to come in, going to hit on to Kane. The jump is in, but they're going to trade. Okay, that's not the world's worst thing. Well, actually, it kind of is. That's more worth it for Kane than it is for Call of Meek and Souls at that point in time. If they're going to do that, Souls has to be the one to start tanking. It cannot be Call of Meek.
And you really want to give the gold over to Canes because, of course, after the first 3 games of this series, you want Call the Meek. Sorry, you don't want to give the gold over to Canes. You want to give the gold over to Call because he has been running a clinic on his opponent. And this does moderately set Canes behind because he is losing the wave, whereas Call the Meek had the shove. But overall, it's not a big swing or influx. And that's quite a bit of resources spent otherwise.
Marth is forced to flash in the mid lane to safety. That was actually a pretty good flash there from Marth, trying to stay safe. Honestly, with what was bought, I kind of think Call the Meek and Kane ended up just about even, despite the fact that Call the Meek did not get the kill.
Looks like Kane's actually maybe getting the better of him in this trade.
Yeah. Honestly, Comet is very good on... And there goes the flash. The hook shot comes out. And there goes Kane just as we were praising him. Scrub Lord used his ultimate and flashed away. Souls is just chasing. Now Duffy is in a bad spot. Here comes the Nami. Throttle gets the W, forces Duffy to flash. He still has barrier available as the Ignite is ticking down from Marth. Now it's on to Tej. Tej is gonna not... Wait, what? He just walks through the baby cage?
I think he had touched it earlier.
Oh,
and he can't get
as
stuck
we
twice.
just about to say, Call of Meek gets ulted on like Canes. The unstoppable horse went down. And Canes is going to get his second kill of the game, getting a return kill on the greedy stay to try and push the wave by Call the Meek, who was extremely low. I actually think he completely greeted there and pushed the wave and got a turret plating.
And maybe... Oh, hold up.
And
Soul's
speaking
in
of
a
things
weird
about to
place.
happen, Soul's going to get caught out here into... no man's land, but Scrub Lord taking some damage. Souls is going to get a lot of damage. What the heck?
So I don't think anyone could have guessed that this was how we would achieve it. But we talked about mitigating this top lane matchup and making sure that Canes is not hemorrhaging out. I don't see him bleeding out here.
He's definitely not. By the way, you want to know what got the kill onto the Zinzao there?
Was
the
it
Bonnie
comment?
Cinder.
There was the Bonnie Cinder. And it may be
He
my
just
only...
walked forward and it killed him.
Save this moment in time, Nova. It may only be by 100 gold, but Canes has a lead over Call the Meek.
That is impressive considering the last few games. This honestly may be the game that they go to Game 5, but at that point they don't have the easy button for Kane. Call the Meek is going to go in, going to catch Scrub Lord with the Ignite, going to tick down and get the kill.
He just does it all himself.
Call the Meek.
Marth was just cheering him on.
Marth was looking to push in the wave, which is the correct call, but now he's like not pushing the wave all the way in. Push it in, please.
Yeah, he figured it out. It's just takes him in a second.
Yes, I do. I am going to say, CLT, I just looked over and saw that Unending Despair is better. Um, I don't remember though if it builds out of sun or bombies or not.
It
Holy
does
damage!
not.
I look back and it's just a lot of damage.
True damage, one hell of a drug. As we do see Smothered and Covered start up the first dragon of the game.
It does not. Okay. I couldn't remember that to save my life because I don't play top lane a whole lot recently.
It only builds into Sunfire and Hollow Radiance.
Gotcha.
And there is the Sunfire.
Unless maybe he's going Hollowed Radiant. Oh, no. I look back away and look back and he has Sunfire. Okay.
So this is a bit of a weird situation to put yourself in as the Malphite because, building an armor item first against triple AD topside.
The Unstoppable Force is going to come out on the Call to Meek. Call to Meek does have no way out currently. He's going to get the W. The shield is not available yet. Neither is the Hextech Ultimatum. Or Hextech Ultimatum. Xin Zhao's going to come in. Gonna hit the W. Gonna get the ultimate down as well. And that's a kill.
And we are finding ourselves in new ground in this series where, Kane's is certainly behind, but not nearly to the level that he was in the other lanes. But it is Souls that is actually the recipient of a lot of this gold. And his first game left a little bit to be desired. His second game, he had a much higher impact. His third game, the draft sort of gave him free reign to do what he wanted. But I think this is the first time that he is on a champion with an early gold lead where he really needs to accelerate this game and see what he can do with it.
Yes. I want to be completely honest here. I definitely think, SAC is on a timer here to where they need to just lose gracefully without losing too much till not only can they scale, but before they start doing anything whatsoever.
I'm going to do a quick stack check on these two bottom laners to see where we sit. Smolder at 68 stacks, which is respectable. Nothing to write home about, but I would not say very far behind. Vigor at 73 stacks. I'd say it's pretty good at this point in the game.
Honestly, for what it's worth, that's about normal for a Vigor bot lane, because bot lane is a lot easier to hit your spells on and stack. Now, note top lane, hookshot goes in, Call to Meek does have Ignite up, and Hextech Ultimatum. The Unstoppable Force just came off cooldown for Kayn. Not going to use anything yet, but the wave is pushed towards Kayn's turret. If Kayn wanted to, he could have ulted there before the wave crashed into it and took the fight in his wave. But at the same time, he's now behind. And honestly, I don't know if you ever really want to fight a Triforce Camille.
I don't think you do. But likewise, he is playing, the Comet Doran's Ring Malphite style correctly, taking, for the most part, these short trades, and we are seeing him gain slight health advantages as a result. I want to give...
Soul's going to go in on this Cowboy. The ultimate comes down from Marth. Flash comes away to safety. Before that, I want to make a quick note before you finish your thought. I looked topside, looked at the mini-map, saw that Tej was sitting there behind Kayn in the wing, doing absolutely nothing for 5 seconds. And we're just going to see the ultimate almost being used, and that's a double kill. The Unstoppable Force is going to come out on the Call to Meek. Call to Meek gets a huge shield. There is no way out yet. Hook shot. Going to come through the Ignite. He's going to kill Kayn in a miracle kill.
It's all falling apart. And I asked earlier, you have this early gold lead on Souls. Xin Zhao is a champion that really wants to push that gold lead. I don't call him a hyper carrier or a snowballer, but he's definitely a champion that can push the game out of control with an early gold lead. That double kill in the mid lane is just going to put him over the edge. Already finished Sundered Sky, pushing towards that Black Cleaver now. I think for the first time all series, this bottom lane is an accessory to what is happening everywhere else on the map. And I hate to say it, but so far, this Gnar is not looking impressive.
I think this bot lane at this point is just going to be an accessory to a crime, and that's it.
The only crime is who's getting murdered. That's the remaining question.
Yep. Oh, Veigar is left alone. They have 3 here. Souls is in the wing.
Oh.
Tej is going to try and look for Souls here. He's going to hit him with a boomerang, going to jump over the wall, but misses the return boomerang. But Mega Gnar coming very quickly. Duffy takes a trade, but fails it. But now, here comes Call the Meek. He is going to probably be able to find one before this dragon is taken. That's what he's looking for. Tej is still Mega Gnar. Mega Gnar going to throw a building or a rock at him and call it a day.
And it looks like the second dragon of the game is going over to If the Worm Wiggles, making sure that Smothered and Covered does not have that dragon stacking win condition. Considering how much Souls and Call the Meek are looking to escalate this game, slowing down the dragon stacking is very much in the game plan.
Honestly, I do like the fact that Canes chose to stay top lane here, get some turret plating back into his pocket, get some gold. Yes, he may be 3-4-0, but he is still behind compared to the Camille, who now has a Tiamat, who can just push waves a lot faster. Duffy just came back bot, despite the fact that turret is now gone. Yes, he gets that wave, but at the same time, now you want to be mid. There is no reason you should both be bot lane, especially with Rift Herald coming up here in less than 5 seconds now. Tej forced to use Smite on his blue buff, so that means Rift Herald gonna probably not be contested at all, considering Tej doesn't even have Mega Gnar being stacked. Soul's forced to use Smite as well. Throttle gets the Soul Chains out, gonna get all, or Souls just missed his W completely. Mega Gnar looking like it's stacking pretty quickly now. Mega Gnar, holy, Tej took a lot of damage. Duffy got the blue buff. Martha's in the area. Call the Meek has teleport available. Grub Lord looking like to catch 7 out. 7 forced to flash. Kane still has the unstoppable force. But it looks like they're just gonna back away, get some health, get their camps,
Smothered and
look away.
Did secure control of the river, and they will be the ones getting the Herald as their reward.
Looks like they're drawing Scrublord down to the bot side, which may end up being very bad for them. Call the Meek can potentially kill them. Tej is on the Rift Herald.
He does not have access to side.
He's in a bad spot.
He steals it!
Got the kill and the Rift Herald, and that is going to be a dead Throttle who walked into the baby cage. Duffy avoids the W. Souls now running after Canes. Canes took a cue from Marth and did not take very much damage, but now he's not going to be able to run away from Souls' unstoppable force used. But he's just a dead man due to the burn of the red buff. There goes mid turret as well. And that was a huge influx of gold over to the side of ITW.
It goes from bad to worse. And as this game continues to slip away from Smothered and Covered, I think their draft had a lot of merit potential to it, but from behind, I don't see it catching up. Mel does not scale very well into the late game. Jungle Gnar does not scale well. Malphite and Smolder do, but now the Veigar makes more sense because both bot lanes have been left to their own devices, but the Veigar is going to match the scaling on the Smolder. The rest of your game is in the hands of Call the Meek and Souls. It cannot be Smolder against the world this time around. It's not going to cut it.
That it is not, and it looks like we're just trying to hope and pray that both Mel and Smolder can scale at this point in time from the side of SAC, which being all honest, I don't think is going to happen very quickly. We need to slow the game down. We need to be able to just completely take the game in our own way and not play by how ITW wants to play.
Yeah. And if we want to address some of the other challenges that SEC are going to have to face on a purely nominal level.
Things that may happen here, Kane's coming in, unstoppable force is available, but Nami is just going to take it away. Soul's in the area. He's going to hit W and hit Duffy. Soul's kind of just playing keep away from the rest of his team, and it looks like the Hextech Ultimatum is going to hit on the Scrub Lord, and a single Q auto is going to take Scrub Lord down to 10 HP. Kane looking to do some damage. He hits Duffy. Duffy now forced to use the E away. Flap, flap, flap. He's in safe mode. The ultimate comes down. There goes Mom across 2. Now, nothing else is going to happen in that trade. Okay. Call the Meek, though. A lot of damage onto that bot inhibitor turret. 19 minutes into the game.
Something I like to talk about a lot, Nova, is at what point is the game taken away from a team's control? At what point is the goal lead so massive that Smothered and Covered can play the game perfectly and it would still be up to Worm to make mistakes? And I'd say that a 9,000 gold lead at 19 minutes has crossed that line somewhere.
Theoretically, you can come back from any amount of gold down, but yeah, you've pretty much crossed that line at being 5k gold down.
Yeah, theoretically, you can come back in any situation, but the comeback implies at this point that it is because Worm made a mistake that's Smothered and Covered capitalized on. If Worm play correctly, they should have this game.
Speaking of things about to happen, Duffy's gonna flap, 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 but the hook shot's gonna come on the Scrub. Nothing gonna happen. The ultimate coming down does not do all the damage that he wants it to do. Nar is looking to try and do whatever damage he can to trade a kill. In comes Kane using teleport, but far too late in that situation. I don't even know if Kane meant to teleport earlier or if he couldn't. But like, that teleport was wasted.
If I had to guess, and I am guessing, obviously I am not on comms with these players, a lot could have been happening in the moment. That was a 4v2 in favor of Smothered and Covered. Kane probably didn't think much of the play because he can't see the gold. They know they're behind. They probably didn't realize they were 10k.
Speaking of things happen, Throttle just flashed, but it does not matter. Souls is on to Tej. Tej has no ultimate to save his life anymore. The unstoppable force is used. Souls is very low, but nothing is going to save the team, as that is 4 dead for none.
I think
Souls
my
had 100 HP there.
I think my blurs is going to be broken. I think we are going to watch this series end in 4 games as Worm continues to just dominate this game here. Taking up the Baron, they're going to push their gold lead even further. They are so far ahead. You have to believe these inner turrets are just going to get knocked down one after the other. I say that as if top and bottom inners weren't already gone. There is bottom inhibitor.
Taking this for nothing. Baron is done, but Meek has hook shot back up in a couple of seconds, and that's a flash used from Tej, and it's a dead Camille.
You finally get something back, but
what? 508 gold shut down to Camille?
I didn't catch the exact amount. It's not an ideal death. It is definitely worth it to get the kill for Smothered and Covered, but by securing that inhibitor with your death, you mitigate its impact because you lose the Baron, but you've done what you need to do with that Baron already. You've got an automatically pushing lane now, which will allow you to continue that pressure in the mid and the top lane.
Tej is very lucky he did not get caught by that baby cage, otherwise he would have died. Speaking of dying, in goes Throttle, face checking a bush, and goodbye.
Here's outplayed. Oh, we got to see the interaction once!
Honestly, I hate to say it, but where the hell did Scrub Lord's hands go? It just seems like as the series went on, he just got worse. Also, I kind of want to do a stack check, even though it doesn't even really matter. What's Smolder at?
Smolder is at 214. He will be hitting
214.
execute just around the corner. Execute is 225 for those that don't know. Viger is at 229 AP, a very healthy sum.
Yes. Only way that I believe SAC can win anything at this point in time is if ITW gets overconfident and just dives onto the turn.
I was curious. I just decided to check. 753 AP total on V7 right now.
Oh, Jesus. I do not... Yeah, this game is not going anywhere. Looks like Kane's looking on to V7, but V7 is so far in the back that it's not even going to matter. The unstoppable force used for nothing. Call the Meek in the back line. There is not going to be anything done yet. The execute so curved on Call the Meek. Duffy caught in the baby cage, forced the flash away. Throttle just gets ulted by V7. But
They're
now
so
the rest
low.
of the team. Call the Meek is so low. Oh, the Solar almost caught V7. V7 has 10 HP. But now Duffy forced to try and do away. He's flapping
He's got the execute!
Life, but it's not even going to matter. Double kill for Duffy at the end of the game. Now Marth is about to die. Can he get it done? No, he cannot yet. Scrub Lord.
That's the series!
Jesus. That was a very great game from ITW, grabbing the lead and never letting it go.
And a healthy round of applause to them. And just a thank you for Smothered and Covered. This is the end of their playoff run. And I think they played fantastically. Unfortunately, at this point in playoffs, the teams that remain are just so good. And Worm was just the better team on the day.
I definitely agree here. However, if we do want to talk about things that they could have done better, I do think that swapping the Malphite and the Gnar, sending the Malphite to jungle, sending the Gnar top lane is just infinitely better. Even if Kane's is not as good of a player to call the Meek here in this situation, Gnar is just a big matchup for Gnar is that Camille. Like, you don't really do a whole lot as the Camille and the Gnar, purely because the Gnar has range. The Gnar has the ability to gain health from the Rage Bar into Mega Gnar, as well as Gnar has just the ability to disengage Camille whenever they try to do anything. That being said, I do think all the players played really well today.
I agree.
I really do.
I don't want... We talked about it a lot. I don't want Kane to come away from this series thinking less of himself. Cole the Meek has kind of been doing this to most of the top laners. And I think Kane did the absolute best that he could with the hand that he was dealt.
I agree. However, at the same time, even though he played amazingly, I do think his build was not very great, especially going into the Comet build for Malphite.
Yeah, I think he probably should have just skipped the Sunfire Cape. It is kind of notoriously known as the worst item in the game right now. Hollow Radiance being very, very strong, but obviously you wouldn't have wanted to build a magic resistance item into a triple AD top. I think going straight for the Frozen Heart first probably would have been the better bet. And just to say
I would have went for the Unending Despair, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think both would have been better for sure. I'm reaching out to V7, by the way. I'm going to get one or two of their players in here for an interview, if that is chill with you.
That is fine with me. I will let you ask the questions, though, because you're the color.
Nope, they're ghosting me. They say they hate us. The cast was horrible. It is...
Okay. Well,
what he's actually saying is that it's late and they are tired and he has work in the morning, which is understandable. So I will leave them to it.
Oh, we got someone in here.
Oh, do
I
we?
don't know who it is.
It's the top winner.
Oh, we got Cole the Meek.
Hello, Cole.
Hello.
the man himself. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. A little tired.
I will keep these questions short and sweet. Uh, how does it feel? You guys are now the going to be facing off against the loser between Misfits and Cast a Curse. You're in the top three. Are you at all nervous about playing against either of those teams? Is there one you'd rather play against, or are you just happy for the win, take it one step at a time?
No, I'm pretty happy about the win. I'm excited to see Caster Curse matchup because I believe the last time we played against them, I wasn't really on my A game. I was kind of stressed out with work and stuff, but that's like long past now. So
Glad to hear it. It certainly showed in this series. If we gave out player of the series, I personally would give it to you. You ran a clinic. How did the top lanes go for you? Was this what you expected? Was it maybe easier than you thought you'd get, or did Souls just set you up, or what was it like?
I mean, just looking at like when we were doing the scouting and I saw his pool, like, first thing I noticed is there's nothing that I knew that I just couldn't necessarily play into because with the kind of player that I am, I'm gonna play aggressive. I'm gonna play aggro on your face. And he just didn't have an answer for it in any of his pool.
After that first game loss, it looked like, at least to me, that you guys intentionally let Smothered and Covered get a lot of their comfort picks, and you tried to draft to counter it, and it looked good for a bit, but ultimately didn't quite work out. Were you guys nervous at all, or was it just a mental reset?
No, like after the first game, like although it was looking, fine for me on the top side, but like we weren't too concerned about the loss just because like for a game one with almost every player on a comfort pick, that's like really good for us, especially considering, top side, he didn't really have too many champs that he really could play or the jungler as well.
And I guess my last question for you: Did have we seen like everything that Worm has to show? Obviously, there's a few new looks that we got from your team. The Vigor bottom, I think, was new, or do you still have some secret spicy picks that you can whip out in a game five scenario?
Oh no, we've still got plenty. I've got a lot of tricks in my bag. This is the first time anyone in the LOLMidwest has seen me on Aurelia, so
It You definitely made it look scary. We were we kept asking ourselves, maybe they can do this, maybe they can do that, but the Irelia. Well,
Yes, you on that Aurelia were just able to 1v5 without a single care in the world. Honestly,
yeah,
it was actually pretty entertaining.
it was a really good game. I wasn't too sure about that matchup. It's first time I'm playing Aurelia versus Zach in a long time, but ended up being pretty fine.
did you have any questions for him, Nova, before I start to wind us down?
Only thing I have to ask is, do you have anything to say to your future opponents, whoever that may be?
I don't know, man. I guess you'll have to quad ban me. I don't know.
I mean, after this series, I don't think it's cocky to say that it might be needed.
Yeah, especially with all the shit he played. Like that Renekton, even though in the losing game, you were fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Like I
I've been
don't
playing that champ
think
for a few years now. So
I don't think I've seen a better Renekton in this low of an elo in a long time. I mean, obviously, like there's better Renektons out there, but for Plat Emerald, you honestly have the best Renekton I've seen.
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've have several thousand hours on that champion, so I'd be like really concerned if that wasn't the case.
Well, I will start to wind us down. It is late. I'm sure the viewers as well are looking to get their winks in. So, just as a quick recap for where this leaves us in the regular season, this was the lower bracket semifinals. if the Worm Wiggles has successfully closed out 3-1 over Smothered and Covered, removing Smothered and Covered from the playoffs. On Sunday night, we will be watching Misfits against Caster Curse. They are playing in the upper bracket finals. The loser of that matchup will be playing against Worm next week. The winner of that matchup will be waiting in grand finals for the winner between Worm and their opponent. Not much.
Yes, and I will be back for Sunday.
I think that is all I have. Anything you want to say to the viewers or anyone else that may watch the replay before I sign us out, Nova?
No, it's that I had fun today. It was actually but a really good series to watch. Yeah, it ended in not 5 games like I was expecting, but oh well. It was still a fun series.
I would certainly agree. All right. Hopefully Sundays is just as good. You'll have a good night. Thank you for watching.